Almanya var ya, bu Almanya. Bunlar Nazizm. Bunlar Marksizm. Bunlar Budizm. Bunlar deizm. Bunlar faşizm. Bunlar karnizm. Bunlar seksizm. Bunlar ateizm. Bunlar taoizm. Bunlar fetişizm. Bunlar komünizm. Bunlar leninizm. Bunlar fideizm. Bunlar cecilizm. Bunlar kaderizm. Bunlar nihilizm. Bunlar şintoizm. Bunlar pasifizm. Bunlar feminizm. Bunlar semitizm. Bunlar siyonizm. Bunlar elitizm. Bunlar darwinizm. Bunlar aktivizm. Bunlar raşitizm. Bunlar veganizm. Bunlar politizm. Bunlar hedonizm. Bunlar hinduizm. Bunlar cainizm. Bunlar panteizm. Bunlar bolşevizm. Bunlar şovenizm. Bunlar optimizm. Bunlar pezimizm. Bunlar despotizm. Bunlar romantizm. Bunlar hümanizm. Bunlar popülizm. Bunlar kapitalizm. Bunlar globalizm. Bunlar sabotajizm. Bunlar feodalizm. Bunlar militarizm. Bunlar politeizm. Bunlar pragmatizm. Bunlar liberalizm. Almanya, sen kimsin ya? İspanya, sen kimsin ya? Amerika, sen kimsin ya? Kanada, sen kimsin ya? Japonya, sen kimsin ya? Brezilya, sen kimsin ya? Polonya, sen kimsin ya? Fransa, sen kimsin ya? Belçika, sen kimsin ya? Hollanda, sen kimsin ya? İtalya, sen kimsin ya? Namibya, sen kimsin ya? Andorra, sen kimsin ya? Danimarka, sen kimsin ya? Letonya, sen kimsin ya? Estonya, sen kimsin ya? İrlanda, sen kimsin ya? Nijerya, sen kimsin ya? Uganda, sen kimsin ya? Rusya, sen kimsin ya? Rusya, sen kimsin ya? Romanya, sen kimsin ya? Meksika, sen kimsin ya? Bolivya, sen kimsin ya? Frikya, sen kimsin ya? Mudanya, sen kimsin ya? Kumanya, sen kimsin ya? Komedya, sen kimsin ya? Lavinya, sen kimsin ya? Kilikya, sen kimsin ya? Polonya, sen kimsin ya? Ütopya, sen kimsin ya? Çiçekya, sen kimsin ya? Botswana, sen kimsin ya? Sen kimsin ya? Kim bu ya? Sen kimsin ya? Sen kimsin ya? Bunlar taoizm. Bunlar fetişizm. Bunlar komünizm. Bunlar leninizm. Bunlar fideizm. Bunlar cecilizm. Bunlar kaderizm. Bunlar nihilizm. Bunlar şintoizm. Bunlar pasifizm. Bunlar feminizm. Bunlar semitizm. Bunlar siyonizm. Bunlar elitizm. Bunlar darwinizm. Bunlar aktivizm. Bunlar raşitizm. Bunlar veganizm. Bunlar politizm. Bunlar hedonizm. Bunlar hinduizm. Bunlar cainizm. Bunlar panteizm. Bunlar bolşevizm. Bunlar şovenizm. Bunlar optimizm. Bunlar pezimizm. Bunlar despotizm. Bunlar romantizm. Bunlar hümanizm. Bunlar popülizm. Bunlar liberalizm. Olmuyor ya, nasıl yapacağız? Ses geliyor mu arkadaşlar? Mostly I'll be speaking English. I'm sorry, friends. Özür dilerim arkadaşlar. Çoğunlukla İngilizce konuşacağım çünkü Amerikalı bir misafirimiz var. We have an American guest today. Unfortunately, probably you're going to say, who's that? Because he's as my age, he's almost my age. So he's from the first years of YouTube. So he's one of the ones who actually knows what YouTube looked like when it first aired. So it was very, very different. Oh, they're saying the live show is unlisted for whatever reason. Tamam, tamam, tamam, tamam. Tamam, gördüm Ramazan. So for nobody saw it actually. Okay, how do we make this? Here. I know why it became unlisted. Visibility. Because normally it's always public. It just became like that. No, man.
Huh?
Now it's public. Now it's public.
Oh, cool.
And I was wondering why didn't anyone write something? Arkadaşlar, friends, if you see me, if you hear this, please say something, okay? Let me check from the views. Concurrent viewers 2. No, it's rising. 2, 3. Now it's rising. 8. Okay, people are coming. Sorry. So the reason why I was doing that intro for 5 minutes, so that people would see for 5 minutes and they would they would flock in.
Yeah.
They would come in. Now people are coming. 85. 88. Nice. Tengri is saying hi. Tengri, you can see the chat, right?
I can, yeah.
Nice. So, okay, before I ask any questions or before I introduce you, for 5 minutes let's all dialogue toplanmış. So many people actually know English. I'm glad.
Oh, excellent.
Okay, guys, even if you don't know English, pretend you know, okay? Just write hello. How are you? Hello, how are you?
Yeah, and I don't mind if you need to take some time to speak in non-English. Like that's totally fine. Like I'll just hang out as long as you need.
No problem. It's almost 150 viewers anyway. It's going
Oh, cool.
to. I just don't like when people come and say, "Who's this guy? Can you say it again?" We just said it. You weren't here.
It's funny. Oh, you don't have to apologize for bad English. I have nothing but respect for people that learn multiple languages, so you're absolutely fine by me.
I think he was referring to that one, that meme. Sorry for my bad England.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like a, I think it's a site or a channel or something. It's either a site or a channel. So they have like very funny translated things.
Well, it's
Like-
it's interesting because when you see them online on like Reddit and stuff like that, it's usually this very eloquent, well typed and presented English statement, and at the very end they apologize for bad English.
Yeah.
And it's like, no,
Yeah.
you're typing it better than most people here.
I mean, I don't know how it is in other countries, but for countries like Turkey, who criticizes my English the most? Other Turks. I've never seen like an American or English or anyone else saying, "Oh, like I don't like your accent. You don't sound American." Yeah, I learned English not to sound American. I learned English to communicate with people.
Yeah, it's about utility, really.
Yeah. They're asking how to pronounce Boh3m. Boh3m, right? Not Boh3m.
Yeah, Boh3m.
Because there's that guy H3.
Oh yeah, Ethan, right? That's his
Yeah.
name.
For a long time, I thought he was Hehe, and I was always saying Hehe, and people were saying who's Hehe. So actually, he was H3.
Yeah, that's I mean, the 3 is usually that's for like Leet English or whatever back in the day. It was meant to substitute for letters. I was using it ironically at first, but it's weird to see because you can go either way.
Okay, we are almost 200 people.
Oh, cool.
People are asking, I can't open any subtitles. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have any subtitles. Sorry. We might have subtitles for the unlive version of this, like when we cut some parts. Ama don't count on it. Probably not. Probably we're not going to take the time for that. So, all you guys, all you viewers might be wondering, whoever is watching this live and whoever is going to watch this not live, you might be wondering who this gentleman is, who Boh3m is, or you probably already Googled him or YouTubed him, and you will see that he was a YouTube celebrity before, back in the day when I started, when he was active. It was like, was it 2006?
Around there, yeah, 2006, 2007.
And by the way, it's okay if people don't recognize you, because do you know the youth now, they don't even know who Bill Cosby is. Like, I don't know
Oh
if,
yeah,
if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe it's a good thing.
mixed bag. Yeah,
Like, people almost like more than 25 years old. People more than 25 years old, and like room full of people. And I asked, like, you guys don't know Bill Cosby? Like, none of you guys do?
well, it gets weird, especially at our age now, where even what we see is like not very old, internet references, like to Flash cartoons and like
Yeah,
Newgrounds.com and like all that stuff that was when we were just getting out of high school and just trying to get into the workforce. Even that's really obscure now. And yeah, so it's not a huge surprise that stuff that was big on television, even big around like The Simpsons, like Married with Children. Most people aren't going to know
yeah.
what Married with Children was. Um, it's funny because the older we get, the more those references just completely blank out. I've noticed that a lot.
I feel old, man.
Me too. It's happening quick.
Like, uh, I used to teach Indian kids in Seattle, and they were Generation Z, Gen Z, like after 2000.
Yeah.
Like, none of them knew Britney Spears. And
Oh
I was
wow.
asking, they know Michael Jackson? I was wondering, do they know? They know Michael Jackson. And I asked, do you know Justin Timberlake? And they were like, Justin, oh, Timberlake, oh, we don't know. So,
Thinking like maybe Justin Bieber or
yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
And oh wow, that's funny. Oh, Justin Timberlake even. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, you think that those big pop stars are going to be ubiquitous, but it's everything is so what's the right term? Temporary, really, when you think about it.
yeah,
Even people that are massive multimillionaire stars inside of call it 10 to 15 years, they're just a kind of who? Like what?
yeah.
It's current is a very narrow window.
If you think about it, Justin Bieber is an old guy now.
Yeah. Or was it Aaron Carter?
No, I
Like I
don't know that.
remember people were, oh, Aaron Carter was, unless I'm greatly mistaken, but he was like a younger sibling of one of the Backstreet Boys or something. I don't. I I have a little stepsister that was nuts about him for a long time. He was in that Justin Bieber, camp.
Hmm. Ah, there were a few when he came out, but
Yeah.
you don't mean that guy, right? Because there were a few. Oh, there were a few actually after Justin Bieber. Like, was it like Austin Mahone or something?
Oh, I don't even know.
Yeah,
Like I didn't keep track of it because when it came down to music, like I'm not a music snob. I used to be, like I was for a minute. But like I just don't really branch out into the pop genre very much because I find it very broad appeal. Like it doesn't feel like it's expressing a lot of emotion. It's usually about the same crap. Like I see it almost like commercials where I'm just like, okay, great. It's yet another round of young people talking about having sex and going to parties. Like that's great. There's plenty of content out there, but I'm more about
but
either
it's like,
blues or
yeah,
like
it's like the
oh, go
fast
ahead.
food of music.
Very much so. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah,
I guess that's why
it's
they call it
not
popular
fulfilling.
music.
Yeah, like it's not super great. It doesn't have a lot of doesn't have conviction.
Oh, so in the chat they're asking, why is the
Oh,
participant's camera black and white? So yeah, I forgot to tell. Back in the day, when he was making videos, he would only make black and white videos. So he came a few years, like 1 year ago or something, to make a few streams. So he just didn't want to change the ritual, let's say, or the
kind of,
style,
yeah.
or the style.
Yeah.
I appreciate it actually. I appreciate that you're doing the same style, you didn't change.
It's a matter of consistency, I think, because yeah, when I first started, I had a really crappy webcam that The colors were awful. Like it couldn't even be adjusted at that time. I mean, I don't even know the model. I'll have to look it up. But the black and white setting came through a lot better, and I could adjust the contrast, and then it did, it made the image look better. And I've always enjoyed black and white photography. So yeah, when I started streaming again, kind of said like, why mess with it? People kind of attach that look to what I do. So it actually gets slightly uncomfortable for people sometimes when I don't have it in black and white,
Yeah, we just got
which
used
is
to it.
interesting. Yeah, yeah. I
Like,
remember on the when I started doing Twitch streams, I have a little like a reward where it's like 10 minutes in color, and people just think I'm too pink at that stage, and I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, like I'm still got blood going.
so I saw an interview of you in color. I think it
Hmm.
was like a YouTube gathering or something. One of the first YouTube celebrity gatherings, was it?
Maybe.
And
I mean, I don't know which interview you're talking about, but it could be.
so there was a woman, and you were saying you were 22, and she was like asking stuff about, I don't know, the Hill 88 and all that stuff. And she was
Oh
asking
yeah.
how does it feel to be famous. By the way, I also wonder, because you had something which I didn't have, which is being a young celebrity. That's actually like, it must be something different than being an old mature man and someone who can handle it than
Yeah.
someone who's young, you know. I can't
It's
imagine how
scary as
it would be
hell.
when I used to be that young guy, and I don't know how it would be if I were famous back then. Is there any difference?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, well, I don't know if there's much of a difference because I'm not a famous person now, but like when I even kind of feel a little weird saying that I was famous at that point, but I'll settle for notable. But like being that young and having that much attention was freaky. And I think that when all right, so first off, getting that attention at that time, new media wasn't really a thing, and none of us knew exactly what we were doing, uh, for better or worse. Like there was a lot of naivete about it. But at that stage, it didn't really hit me what having 50,000 viewers felt like. It's not like having a stadium full of people to watch a music show, like a concert or something like that, or having an audience in a theater, like if you were an actor, because it's such an abstract number. Like you put 500 people in a room and put a microphone there and then tell someone to go on stage and talk to them, they're going to be pissing their pants with
Of
nerves.
course.
I certainly would. Like it wouldn't be something I could get used to. So for me, as far as like an abstract concept of what being known to 50,000 some odd people was, it didn't really land. So I got lucky in that way because I was in my 20s. I was pretty much clueless and I was talking out of my butt, like just kind of making up things and being very opinionated, and people enjoyed hearing about it. So I was lucky in that way. But when I was recognized in person, that freaked me out. And it was just one person that yelled my screen name in a shopping mall. And I remember feeling like very weirded out of like, oh God, real people know what I did online. Like I swung a sock penis around. I hope they're not thinking of that. Like there's a lot of moments where you're just like, how embarrassing is the content I made? But that's pretty much the feeling.
Did
Yeah.
did that time come when you were like, whenever you get out, people would see you, they want to take photographs, or they would recognize you? Did that time come like that?
I mean, not really like in my day-to-day life. Like if I went to a gathering, you kind of expect that people
Yeah,
that are going to a YouTube gathering know YouTube stuff. And like I would have one or two people that knew me, and then way more people would know like Lisa Nova or like, Frank, or like people that had like a lot more subscribers. But I didn't really have that in my personal life. Like I wouldn't go to the store and someone would like point at me and be like, "Oh shit, it's that guy." That didn't really happen. No, thankfully. I did have the weird experience of people in my personal life or my work life eventually getting curious about who I was and like Googling me and then being like,
oops.
is this you? And like, I'd be like, yeah, I did that. And I even had people that I dated kind of find out about that and be surprised or like, oh my God, one person even stopped dating me because of it. They were just like, I was
Were
like,
you
"What's your
still
problem?"
were you still active when that happened? Were you still
No,
active?
no, I had been. This was back in probably like 2014, maybe 2015 when I was thinking about it. So I hadn't done videos in a while, and they were just weirded out by how much stuff was around there. Like seeing the Wikipedia page, really, I think that's what got to them. They're just like, "You have a fucking Wikipedia page, man." I just, oh, sorry if I'm cussing. Should I not do that? By the
No,
way,
no problem, no problem,
okay.
no problem,
I try not to be excessive about it these days, but it still leaks out.
no problem. We don't have any problem in here.
Ah, good. Okay.
So I really want to know. They called you to a gathering where YouTube celebrities come. Is it like that? Like we have YouTube Rewind. Is it like some? Was it something like this? Did
This is
YouTube call
before
you?
that.
Did
Well,
YouTube
I mean,
call you?
YouTube has contacted me previously. I mean, I haven't heard from them, shoot, probably since 2008, 2009. I mean, back then they didn't have gatherings. Like YouTube Rewind was after I stopped really making content. You know, I kind of went cold there. So the events that I had gone to were generated by people in the community. So I don't know if it was the first one, but I did one of the earlier ones um, in Strawberry Fields in New York, where like I think it was like 15 people showed up, something really really itty bitty, and then Corey Williams did the YouTube as one gathering in San Francisco.
Mr. Safety,
Um,
right?
yeah, Mr. Safety,
I remember.
and I think that was the largest, most notable first ones because it was like I was there, Caitlin Hill was there. Um, I'm pretty sure Lisa Nova turned out as well. Spricket 24.
Winecone?
Who?
Winecone. There was someone. He
I
was
think
also
Winecone
singing.
showed up. See, some of this leaks over because I got to um, hang out with other people in Los Angeles too for some other events as well. Like that's where I got to meet Dax Flame and uh, and Lisa Nova and hung out with Danny Diamond too. But as far as the gatherings, yeah, that was I think the largest and most notable was the As One in San Francisco. That was a great time.
And after that, I think they started YouTube Rewind, but that was after your time, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was supposed to go to 777, so it was 2007, July 7th, and that was going to be in New York. But unfortunately, I didn't make it that time. I was still waiting tables. There was no way I could afford a plane ticket to, and a hotel stay. Like it just wasn't going to happen. But I was bummed out because a lot of people went to that one. And then after that stage, that was where YouTube Rewind and I think VidCon started up. Um, and I only went to one event like that. I think it was VidCon in Orlando. And it was weird, man. I think Shay Carl was there. There was like a line of people waiting for autographs from the guy. And like there was this like the Charlie Bit My Finger kid was there.
Yeah.
But it was what seemed like 10 to 12 like cloth booth dividers like you would get at like Comic-Con or something, and maybe 100 people, maybe 200 people at most, just milling around. It just had like too much empty space, and it weirded me out. And I was like, this is like, it's trying to be very established, but it doesn't feel like a community. It feels like a zoo for content creators to sit in. That's what it felt like. It may be different now, but that's why I was kind of like, okay, I don't need to do that.
Wow, so you are actually one of the first YouTube celebrities. Like when YouTube celebrity wasn't even a thing. It's like saying, I don't know, Gmail celebrity or as impossible as that, YouTube celebrity.
Are there Gmail celebrities? That'd be interesting, actually. Like, what would you be notable for? I wonder. There probably are, but by proxy for like spammers. But I know what you mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was by accident. It's not something that we intended to do, but I think as early adopters, we had more of an opportunity to gather an audience. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was interesting.
I really wonder how it would be uh, if it was now, right now, if you were a YouTube celebrity right now. Because I'm thinking two things. First of all, would you be a YouTube celebrity by doing what you're doing? Because why I was following you and people like you, because it was the first time I was seeing people around the world and their daily lives, and it was very interesting. People like you just selling just raw material.
Yeah.
Talking about whatever you want to do, and funny people around the world, funny people in Australia, in USA, Britain, even Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, Americans in Japan. I was following them. So it was very interesting. But right now, if you would do something like that, would you even be famous?
I don't
Because
think
there is
so.
so much torrent of videos and all that stuff. Or
Yeah.
or maybe you would still have the same subscribers, even more subscribers, but you wouldn't be called a celebrity. That might also be because maybe you definitely realized so many kids came to YouTube because back in our day, kids weren't able to use YouTube because of this. This didn't exist.
Yeah.
This didn't exist.
No, I mean we had flip phones back then. I mean
Yeah.
it actually the hinge on a flip phone was the feature of the day, right? It was before that you would have little Nokias
Yeah,
that
yeah.
were just a brick, you know.
Tablets didn't exist.
Yeah.
These ones didn't exist. When this got invented, so many kids and so many people who are not nerds, because like we were all nerds, because
Yeah.
if you want to be on YouTube, you have to open a computer, you have to
Hmm.
open a computer and watch it there.
Oh, you had to be a video nerd too. So
Yeah.
on top of having computer skills, you had to know at minimum how to get to like Windows Movie Maker and how to cut and process and like upload. Some people didn't even have bandwidth to upload videos. You know, that was back when having a cable internet connection wasn't as widespread.
I remember in the first years I was only making English content because we didn't have Turkish audience.
Wow, that's crazy.
I loved YouTube not because of the money, because like in 2013, I think in Turkey, uh, YouTube opened a branch, and they said now uh, you can make money from it, from ads,
Oh, the partner
and
system.
then
Yeah, okay.
and then the flooding started. But before
Money
that,
brought in a lot of people, for better or worse.
for better and for worse.
Hmm. But
uh,
yeah, I'm with you. Like I genuinely think if I had started from scratch today, I would I don't think I would have gotten as much notability because the content that I did is just opinion, right? It's just editorial,
yeah,
movie reviews and, rants and stupid side videos. I don't think they were amazing content. Like it wasn't like the special effects people that you see now. Like there's some people doing special effects centered work that have amazing technical abilities. Like they do motion capture or green screen or cutting effects or technically beautiful work that I never had a great mastery for. My product was just by opinions. It was just me BSing about stuff that I found on at that point it was Dig. So I don't know if there's as much worth in the spread of content creators now for that. But I got lucky in the point in time that I was at where there weren't a lot of content creators at all. So people were like, "Oh, well, okay, this guy is filling a specific groove that's only just starting." It
when you peaked, how many subscribers you had? 50,000.
was like 50 or 60. I think 50 is probably closer to it, but that was also before inactive accounts were getting scrubbed as well. So, I mean, I don't know exactly how many were on there. I don't think there were a ton of illegitimate accounts
Hmm.
because most of my viewership was based off of being in the most discussed areas because I started a lot of conversations. There was a lot of activity in my comments. So I think a lot of people that subscribed were people that were engaged with the platform.
So I think you would still have more than 50,000 for sure if you did that what you did. Maybe let's say, I mean a few times of that. But of course,
Oh, that'd be cool.
right now that doesn't even count as YouTube celebrity. That's the thing. Like I have
Yeah,
five, I almost have 600,000. 600,000 is a lot actually. Like 600,000 people. I would never imagine. Because I remember in the beginning, like I was writing stories, and someone was saying, "Oh, I know someone who made a book, and only 1,000 people read it." And I was thinking, 1,000 people?
yeah. Well, I
Now,
mean, it's a difference of scale, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's the same thing if you compare how much is in your bank account, right? If you take what
yeah,
is impactful to you compared to what you've earned in your life, and like let's say you hadn't been able to save any money for most of your life, and then all of a sudden you have $1,000 in your bank account, and you're like, oh my God, it's $1,000. If you
well,
compare
in
that
Turkey,
to
you're a
the
king.
entire planet, yeah, well, I mean, like we were talking earlier, right? So, if you compare it to everyone who has money, that's nothing. $1,000 is nothing. Same thing with if you compare it to everybody that's doing video content. And also, you're not just competing against individuals. You're competing against NBC and every media company that's been in operation since the fucking 70s or 80s that has been in living rooms across the world for decades. You know, people that are established
Yeah.
and musicians, actors, everything. You're competing against everything now. So I think it's a matter of keeping perspective. You know, like you say, like 1,000 people, that's still hugely notable. But thank you for the compliment of saying that you think I would still have a user base. Um, it's possible. I don't know, but that's nice to think of.
I mean, because I didn't just say it to compliment you, because I know people I follow who are still active and who do stuff like you, and they have followers. They have followers. But they don't count as celebrities. But still, 200,000, 300,000 is good. It's good.
Hmm. You
Sorry
can do a
for
lot with that, you know.
sorry. Sometimes I use Turkish words because that's how I talk with my wife.
That's
Like I
fine.
say yani ama. That's how I talk. Sorry.
No, it's fine. If I miss anything, I'll ask you like to clarify where I can.
No problem. From the chat, they're saying not ama, but yeah, I know what but means. I know that much English. So another thing I didn't live, experience. You said you became you. Is it correct? You said you became unfamous.
Became unfamous?
Yeah, now because you said you used to be famous, but you're not famous now. Is it
Well,
true?
I've always grappled with the idea of whether I was famous. I always like to think that I was notable, but like I said, it was all abstract. It was just numbers on a screen of like video views. So
Hmm.
when I think famous, I think that you are recognized by everyday people,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when you're walking around a city that you've never been in.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if I ever reached that level of notoriety, but I'm also in a weird spot because I was one of the first people to participate in new media, which apparently is a big bit of internet history for a lot of folks. So I still don't know whether I should call myself famous.
Hmm.
You know, like it feels like a weird label because if I think of celebrity, to me there implies a certain amount of earnings, and I didn't earn very much
Yeah,
from
that
YouTube.
that that was actually very interesting because you said when you were at that point, let's say famous,
Yeah,
you were still waiting tables.
I
For
was.
Turkish, that's garson, that's like a waiter.
Mhm.
For Turkish
Yeah.
audience, I'm saying for them to
Oh,
understand.
yeah. I was waiting tables and bartending.
Imagine being a YouTube celebrity right now.
Yeah,
That's huge. Like if you think about it, even the celebrities, like legit celebrities, they're coming to YouTube and they're trying to be a part of YouTube right now. That's
it's
that's
weird.
crazy. That's crazy for real.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I went into a little bit of debt on video equipment and random stuff to make videos just because I didn't think I'd make money back. I was just having fun learning making movies and messing around with effects and stuff like that. So by the time I earned anything from the YouTube Partner Program, it paid off some of that credit card debt and not even that much. Like it was maybe like I think at worst was like 2000, maybe 3000 ish, something like that. But I was A, not good with money. Not that I gambled it, I just didn't earn very much. I was waiting tables, right? But I didn't earn very much from the videos or from YouTube.
That's it. Ah,
Yeah.
I thought you were I thought you were reading chat. Because you stopped for a while, I thought you were reading the chat.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, I've seen a couple things here and there, but some of it's not a lot of it is English, so I'm picking it up here and there. Oh, Anthra
Yeah,
Boy
some people are saying
saying I'm looking young. Thank you.
being waiter in USA pays much better than being someone like an engineer or something in Turkey. I don't know if it's true. Might be. I know that if you work in Walmart full time, it's a lot of money. Like you wouldn't want to be an engineer or something in Turkey. Like you go, you make that money, you come back, you have a good chunk of money. Do you
I
want to
used to
know?
work for Walmart at one point, unloading trucks.
Do you want to know what's the minimum wage for in Turkey
Yes, please.
in dollars? Is like something more than $300 per month.
Wow. Yeah, no, you earn, when I was waiting tables, I would say the minimum I would earn would be about like 350 a week, maybe. And that's cash in hand. So, I mean, yeah.
Of course, obviously, in USA everything is more expensive. Like
Yeah, how much is rent per month in Turkey for a one-bedroom apartment?
so for us it's a lot, but of course like for dollars, I don't know, less. Like for $1,000 you can have a very good place, you know. For $1,000 you
Well,
can have a very good place. For $500 even you can have a decent place. But of
oh
course,
yeah.
like when I was working in USA, my rent was $980, and that was the least how do you say, least decent place.
Yeah, I'm paying about 1,100 a month for a one-bedroom apartment.
Yeah, yeah, one
Um,
bedroom only. Yeah, one
yeah.
bedroom. Ours
And
was like that also,
that's
one
a
bedroom.
yeah, for that same amount you can that's essentially a mortgage for a home that's worth $100,000
Yeah,
around there. So I mean it's pretty crazy. It's very expensive over here for needless things, but it's a weird country that I'm in. It's because that's the balance, right? Is I mean, it $300 a month does seem like a very low amount, but it comes down to also what your cost of living is. So I may genuinely entertain your idea of like saving up a bunch of money and then moving to Turkey or somewhere else, just to kind of like have options and then do that differently because
so we have that saying,
it's so much.
Turkey is beautiful if you're not Turkish.
There you go. I mean, the grass is always greener on the other side, right? Because
Yeah,
you're not stepping on that grass. But
yeah.
I'm with you.
For example, when I went to Vancouver, Canada,
Mhm.
it was like a paradise. I was saying, how can someone have money and not be here? But of course, the living is very expensive in there. So
Well, the other side of that is whenever you visit somewhere on vacation, you're only getting the best of it because you're
mhm,
not working. You're not stressed out about what it's like to rent there. You're just paying for some hotel. If you're responsible, you've saved and then, you're paying out of your budget for that trip. So, yeah, anywhere you travel to is going to feel wonderful unless you've made a choice to go to a really bad part of the world.
definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not inviting you to Turkey or anything because I don't want you to get mad at me if you get disappointed. But
Uh-huh.
the best places in Turkey are always occupied by foreigners because their money is good. Their money is so good.
Yeah.
Like I go to even in my city. I live in Izmir, which is one of
Mhm.
the most beautiful cities. I go to the best places, always foreigners, of course, because they can afford it. You know.
Yeah.
Is it good or is it bad? I don't know. Because it's also good because the foreigners bring foreign money to Turkey. It's also good. But of
Yeah.
course, what good is it if the government can't handle it?
Yeah, you got to be able to make something good out of that and invest it back into those communities. And I imagine there's some cultural issues too, with people from different
Yeah.
countries coming in and maybe not being respectful to local cultures or, integrating very well into it. I'm sure there's got to be some issues from there.
Yeah, but there are sites for foreigners, because if
Hmm.
you have good money, you have like I don't know how to say, like a site with buildings, and mostly
Like a
foreign
city?
people. No, not a city, but like a site. Let's say like three
Okay.
buildings or something, three
Oh, okay.
buildings, four buildings.
Like a complex.
Complex, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, complex.
Mhm.
So of course you can live your life in there, and even if you have to get out, it's still the best neighborhood. So
Oh, okay.
so it's not bad, you know.
Hmm.
I mean,
I just
money opens all the doors.
Oh man. Yeah, I would like to travel at some point out of the country because I've never traveled out of America and I've felt very bothered by that. Like I feel like I should be able it would be nice. It
Oh,
would be
you
a
don't go?
privilege
I
to
didn't know
see
that.
other countries. Yeah, no, I've never even been to Canada or Mexico or anything that's directly adjacent to me. Like I've moved within United States to a few different states and I've done a lot of road trips, but I haven't traveled.
Okay, then if you want to travel to Turkey, you can definitely come to Izmir.
Oh,
Because
thanks, man.
I have many friends who, of course, they get interested by Greece and those places like Santorini and places like that. It's actually very close to Izmir. Like you can take a
Oh,
boat. You can take a boat. Like
well, that's cool.
if you think about going to Greece or something, you can
Hmm.
definitely take a boat and come here because Izmir is actually really beautiful. It's a beautiful city.
Yeah, I definitely, since I don't really know many people over there, I'm telling you first if I ever get over that part of the world.
It's the most secular city anyway in Turkey.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'll
By
have
the
to check it
way,
out.
you probably think like since we're Turks and like everybody's Muslim watching you, probably not nobody is Muslim or very few people.
No, the
We're like,
truth is, I'm a clean slate when it comes to Turkey. I don't make any assumptions about the culture just because I know that so many Americans do that. Like they make a caricature or a cartoon out
yeah.
of other countries. So I tend to just kind of go like I'm going to learn and then make assumptions if I can. But like I've learned enough to where I can't make assumptions of an entire country based off of one or two people. Thank goodness, because there's a lot of ignorant people in America that do that. So no, I try not to. That's yeah.
Especially our community is different because
Mhm.
like mostly, of course, in Turkey people are Muslims, but
Yeah.
I became an atheist like 10 years ago or something. And of
Yeah.
course, I started talking about criticizing religion. That's why
Yeah.
many of my followers are non-religious. But it just happened like that. Of course, there are also Muslims, but they're secular. You know, maybe you know Atatürk,
Mhm.
Mustafa Kemal. He made Turkey a secular country. So there are many
Yeah.
Muslims who are also Mustafa Kemal or Atatürk followers. Me, like me.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're all for secularism in Turkey, you know. But
I
of
tend
course,
to go
not all
towards
of
the
us
secular
are
side.
like that. Yeah, not all of us are
Yeah.
like us, but
Mhm.
we represent the secular side.
Yeah. See, I'm stuck in the southern, like the southeastern United States, which is a very Christian, very Baptist, like culturally very religious community. And
It's
I'm
like Texas.
Well, Texas is a whole nother Texas is a whole nother deal. I guess you could say in some ways it is that way. Texas is a very large state with kind of a very big personality and culture. Um, you know, I'm going to make a hypocrite out of myself by illustrating them in a cartoony way, but they are very much proud of being Texans, and they're very um, um, I guess you could say cowboy culture from what I've seen, having visited Houston and Plano, Texas. I haven't spent a lot of time there, but they have a lot of pride in being from Texas. A lot of Texans think that they're essentially in their own country because of their detachment from the rest of the United States. And I
Hmm.
would say the Southeast in at large is that way, like Alabama, Mississippi, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia. That whole southeastern region kind of feels like its own country in that it has its own quirks, its own accent and dialect, its own way of acting. Um, it's funny. I saw a map the other day, which was the Southeast acts nice but is very mean, like it's very passive aggressive, whereas like the Northeast acts mean but can be very nice. Like if you get on their good side, a New Yorker or
Yeah, yeah.
someone from New Jersey or from Long Island, some of the most hospitable and kind people. But if they don't know you, they will tell you to go fuck yourself in a heartbeat. Like they could be harsh. Meanwhile, everyone in the South sounds very pleasant and they act hospitable, but they can be very mean and very shitty, while being very nice about it at the same
It's
time.
like passive aggressive or something.
Extremely passive aggressive, extremely, because they don't want to be honest enough to be mean directly. Like they just, I don't know, it's a very weird part of the world. But going back to what we were talking about with religion, as far as secularity, um, when it comes down to atheism, and this is a weird way to approach it, I guess. I was atheist for a long time. I don't know what I currently am. I guess you could say maybe agnostic, because I don't agree with most religious doctrines. Um, Not that I'm opposed to their various ideas. I guess there's some good ideas in many of them that I've looked into. But I think it's a bit silly to assume that anyone, science included, has a complete picture of the world. Um, I don't like the arrogance of feeling that you have an exact, certain, unchanging, infallible opinion. So I try to stay open to things changing and to the possibilities of what could be out there. So, while I don't think that Christianity is absolutely true, I'm sure they've got some stuff right. Same thing about Judaism or the Muslim faith or Buddhism, Shinto. Like there's truth in all of them, I feel, to a certain extent, but none of them are absolutely true in my opinion. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's a very non-committed secularity, I guess. But hopefully that didn't offend anybody. But uh, the truth is that we're always going to be learning how things actually are. And I think that if you live long enough to see how stupid you used to be, then you can at least give yourself credit for growing.
Very interesting. Maybe you recognized, maybe you realized. I didn't even ask if you're religious or non-religious because I knew. I
Yeah.
knew that you were non-religious without only from your videos, the way you talk because you're a smart guy. That's why.
Well, thank you for saying. Yeah, I was raised Southern Baptist. I have a very religious grandmother who to this day is still very, very religious. And my father took me to church every Sunday, I think, until I was about 8 or 9, I think, somewhere around there.
So maybe you would think that, yeah, there are many like smart people or academics who are also religious. But what I mean by smart is you understand when someone talks from the things he says or she says. At some point, you understand. No, that guy is a different type of smart.
Maybe.
Because
Yeah,
being a
I
good
think
academic and it's not the same thing as someone who's just smart. Sorry.
I understand. I think what you mean. No, no, no. I think that what you're talking about is um, whether or not someone, what's the right way to put it? I seek knowledge because I enjoy seeking knowledge. I look for different opinions. I study different stuff because I like to find out more about the world I'm in and the stuff that happens in it. Some people study one thing and they stay on that track, and they're good with that being kind of their perspective, and they want to learn more about it. They find a lot of value to it, and for them, there's that truth of what they're reading reinforcing what they feel, which is valid. It's a matter of perspectives, I guess. It's what you're comfortable with and what utility you get out of what you're studying. But I also think that there can be a limitation in how much you view when you specialize like that. And the reason I say that's important with even college graduates, as well as people that are religious in nature, is that it may be a matter of sunk investment, right? They've put in so much of their time, so much of their life, so much of
Yeah.
their effort into that being a part of who they are, right? Their studies affect their career, so they're invested, right? So they have to be their job, they have to be their education. Same thing with their faith. They were raised a certain way, so they have no reason to believe it could be any way different because they have felt what they've felt throughout learning that religion. And sure at some point that affects and reinforces their belief in that religion.
Yeah.
If I've said that right. Yeah.
So sorry, I didn't want to drag you into religious religious
I don't mind.
talk,
Yeah.
because we always talk about religion in this channel. Uh,
Big subject.
it became a stigma to me. Like for example, if you type my name, most of the time you will see atheist YouTuber. Like that it became almost like my, how do you say, brand.
Yeah.
I didn't
It's
want.
easy to get swept up in it, and people have strong opinions when it comes to religion. It's similar to politics, right?
Yeah.
Or sexuality, right? That's the three biggies: is politics, religion, and sex. If you bring up those three at a dinner table, you're gonna have a very heated discussion,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, I get where you're coming from, and it polarizes people. Even if you don't have a definite opinion, people get upset about that because they're like, "Oh, well, you can't pick a side," and it's like, "Oh, well, this is why people just avoid it at times."
Yeah.
It's very important to people. It's a huge part of who they are.
Yeah. Uh, what we say about religion is, because people ask, you know, TLDR, too long didn't read. So they ask the
Yeah.
too long didn't read version of the religion, about
Hmm.
what's about religion, and we always say, you know, we're just too small, and our minds are too small to recognize what we are, or how we were created or made, or how we became, or what's after universe. We're just too small to understand that. But as humans, we have the psychology of wanting answers. We want answers. Because of that, some people came up with stories, and it's just that. That's what I always say. This is like the shortest version. Of course, you can open it all the way.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that could be many hours. And I agree
Yeah,
with you
yeah.
on that. And what's funny to me about human nature and the brain, is that the brain itself is just an alarm tool. It's just there to organize experiences as an organism, right? That are good for you and bad for you, right? You do something good that propagates your genes and reproduces, right? You get that hit of dopamine and serotonin, right? It's the good feelings, the good chemicals. You burn your hand on a stove, you get the owies, you get the nerves, and you get this shock response, so your brain knows, okay, don't do that. And we're an assembly of alarm bells and good memories to reinforce patterns of behavior to have a comfortable, good life, right? You could argue that the stomach grew the brain so that it would know the best foods to eat.
Yeah.
But because the brain is a pattern recognition tool, it looks at a chaotic universe and it looks for patterns to make sense of it in the hope to survive longer. It's possible, depending on the scale of how you look at things, that there is no pattern. But to not get too far into philosophy, because another big subject, right? You could argue that there is order or chaos and chaos, depending on how closely you look at things, right?
Yeah.
You look at atoms as a group and it's this buzzing hive of things moving around at all times, which looks chaotic. You look at the atom by itself, it's a singular nucleus, right? I'm not a scientist, right? But it's a small thing with an orbiting series of electrons, right? Which seems to be in order. Um, and I think that as you move up in scale or down in scale, you're going to see chaos or order. And that's the interesting thing of like, it's both. It comes down
Yeah.
to perspective, and the interesting thing I think is that chaos can create order and vice versa, which is a really cool paradigm.
Yeah.
But that's what also makes me think like, who the hell knows? It's all strange and it's all interesting, and it's frequently frustrating, but it's I find worth studying and worth staying open to.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I always say I'm going to go to another topic, but that's also the reason why I didn't become a deist, or I became an atheist,
Mm.
because of that. Because many people say I became a deist because I see the universe and I see like there are so many unexplainable things, and I think that a creator or some higher power must have done it. the reason why I didn't become a deist is I saw like microorganisms or very, very simple animals. For them, for example, for a worm, a bird is a god. They can
Yeah.
only imagine that. Beyond their imagination, a bird is a god. So for us, a creator of a universe has to be a god, but it doesn't have to be. It can be something much bigger.
What I
Sorry.
think would be a funny way of no
Sorry.
apologies at all.
I
What I
keep on
think would
dragging
be
this, I'm sorry. I just like
no
this
no no
topic,
no no.
that's why.
It's a great topic, and I would love to revisit this in like a dedicated stream if you're open to it. Like we could
Yeah, yeah,
have
no problem. I
one
can,
that's about that.
yeah,
That'd be
I
cool.
can come to you also.
Yeah, yeah, you just let me know. This would be fun.
Yeah,
But I guess one last thing that I'd like to put in before we switch on to something else, if you like, 'cause
sure.
it sounds like maybe we're gonna shift to something else. Um, I think what's funny about the concept of a higher power is the idea that it's intentional, that this is designed.
Yeah.
I think it's way funnier and maybe more in line with what I've seen of chaos, that that creation is an accident. Like we're some kind of higher powers tilted milk bottle in some cabinet that just happened to create life. That would be much more interesting and I think a lot funnier for an existence. But that would be an idea.
I mean, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
Who can say it's not?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's all in flux, right?
Yeah. So this time I'm going to another topic for sure.
Sure. Sure.
What year did you start YouTube?
I'd have to look at the channel. I want to say 2005 or 2006, though. That feels about right. Let me check that in the
I'm
background.
glad you didn't close your channel because many people back then they did, which sucks actually.
Yeah. I mean,
You can't even find.
I like it. It says that I joined March 30th of 2006. I like keeping all of my old accounts. I really do. Like, I don't have all of them, but I don't enjoy closing older accounts. Like, I think one of my oldest accounts is DeviantArt. That was one of my first like social media accounts ever. Um,
Yeah, I used to have that also, DeviantArt.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think I have that from maybe like even 2003 or 2004. Like, I think that even predates my YouTube profile.
Did you make your first videos in March also, or did you just use it to watch videos? Because many people do that actually.
Um, it's hard to say. Yeah, well, unfortunately, because I did deleted my
Ah,
first video ever. Like a lot of those earlier videos got removed, but I remember lurking on YouTube first so that I could watch episodes of Family Guy, and then I came across video bloggers like what was that stupid one? It was like Ohio Kid something something something, and like I don't know, just some of the earlier video bloggers that were before me that I don't think those guys are around anymore. Um, and after I saw them, I decided to create videos. So I don't think I created videos. I don't think I created the account so that I could post videos.
hmm.
But it wasn't very long after I signed up that I started posting videos.
Like for me, the same day I opened the account, I started uploading videos because I already had,
Really?
like in 2005, I already had I was already into video making. Like I had a very small, like, how do you say VGA? 300, no, not even VGA, not even VGA. 320 by 240.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And I
really
still have
really
those,
small.
I still have those, I still have those videos.
Ah, see, I wish I still like I've got a few from the handheld. Like I had a Nikon. No, wait, was it Nikon? I don't know. One of the little handheld cameras that could take video, like the early digital cameras before we even were at like 3 or 4 megapixels for still images. Like I still have a few of those videos.
I know how it was in USA, but in Turkey, you had to be like a super nerd to be able to like edit that video, put some writing,
Hmm.
put music. You had to be a super nerd. Now you can do it here with no problem.
Yeah. Oh man, editing has gotten so much easier. My God. Like I remember if you wanted to have like the first big thing was making overlay graphics, right? To have a title that wasn't on the blue screen
Yeah,
from Windows Movie Maker or whatever. Like I didn't know anything about editing when I started making videos. That's why it was all jump cuts. Like
Do you
I would
know
just cut it up to pieces and then delete the parts I didn't want.
virtual dub mode, right? You used to use it probably, virtual dub mode.
No.
That was very like it was free and it was like a 1 megabyte or something. So I
Oh
used to
wow.
have to do that. For example, of course, I didn't know how to put text or I didn't have something and my computer wasn't good either. So I was actually making the texts, turning them into BMP file, not even JPEG, not even
Oh
JPEG,
wow.
BMP files.
Yeah.
And of course, the background would be blue, and I would
Mhm.
the virtual dub mode would have an option to say add logo. So I would add it like a logo instead of a
Yeah.
text.
Oh
That was
wow.
crazy. And of course,
Yeah.
you had the option to make the blue disappear.
Yeah, by
That
chroma
was that's
keying basically, right?
yeah, yeah. At
Hmm.
least we had that, yani.
Yeah.
So I was going to say one more thing, but I forgot. Anyway, I'll
That's
remember it.
fine.
I'll remember it.
Mhm.
So, what year did you, let's say, quit or started making less and quit? And what was the reason? I think I remember the reason, but I forgot. I'm sorry. It was
No, it's
about like a
fine.
trademark or something, or you had a
Not really
contract.
a trade. Yeah, it was a contract. So what happened? Let's see, when was that? I think that was around 2008, maybe 2009. So a couple things happened. Yeah, no, it was 2009. I know exactly what happened. So in 2009, it was just after the first year of the YouTube Partner Program had happened, and Google had paid me a set amount each month, um, and it was what we call independent contractor, which means it was not taxed. I would have to pay the government taxes and Social Security and Medicare or whatever out of those checks. Intelligent people set money aside to pay taxes from those contract jobs. I was not an intelligent person. I didn't know what was going on with that. I thought that they had already paid that. So that year, a few things happened. I did my taxes and found out that I now owed the federal government about $2,000,
Oh,
roughly. Yeah, that was rough. And I was already in credit card debt because I was doing some stupid choices with spending. Like it was bad news. Um, I had also signed a contract with Machinima to basically earn ad revenue on their platform. And what pissed me off about them, and I'll circle back to this in a minute, is
hmm,
that they wanted to put their logo on my channel and to define certain things about how I would do content. I also had problems with finding work at that stage because it was 2009. The Great Recession hit our country, which means a lot of jobs kind of went away. And I already didn't have much money, right? So this is where the credit cards came in, and I ended up having to move back home. But what made me stop doing videos specifically, aside from the bad stuff happening in my personal life, was that I was on a contract for, I think the initial term was like 1 or 2 years with Machinima. And what would happen is that if you didn't request termination of that contract, it would automatically renew for another year.
that really sucks.
And oh, it sucked so bad because I would contact them. Like you had to contact them at like 30 days or some crap like that before your contract renewal date. And if you contacted them after that 30 days, like on day 25 before,
Hmm.
they would A, take weeks to get back to you, or B, say like, oh, nope, sorry, you didn't do it, 30 days, like within this narrow window, you're on it for another year. And I lost my shit. I was so angry with them because I had gotten suckered. What basically was going on is that they would get whatever their total ad revenue was from all of their accounts and then just cut me a check for however much it was, which was nothing. My videos did not get a lot of views. I didn't get much money from them. I wouldn't have gotten much money without them, to be fair. My videos never had a ton of views. It was more, um, like I said, comments and community building, that kind of stuff. But what pissed me off was that they wanted me to make promotional material. I think they got taken to court about this later on. They wanted you to promote like Xbox games or like certain stuff without disclosing that it was a promotion. It's just some shady stuff. And I hated that they technically had control over my account. Like they could tell me if I needed to private a video because of copyright concerns, stuff like that.
Hmm.
And I hated it because the only reason I enjoyed doing YouTube videos was because it was mine. It was my ownership. It was entirely my fault if things went wrong. It was my fault if things went right. But when I lost that agency, it pissed me off so much. So I said, fuck it. I'm not making videos. Um, I'm at a spot where I'm not getting a ton of videos anyway. Like at that point, I was like, nobody's really going to mess me. Like a couple of people are going to reach out, but like, it's not going to be a big thing. And ever since then, people have checked in saying like, hey man, we miss you, and like come back and do stuff for like a decade now. And it's been really heartwarming um, to see people that still think about me. It's a weird thing to be like, holy shit, people across the world here and there just kind of go, wonder what that guy's up to. I hope he's okay. And it's very nice actually. It's a moving thing that makes me really happy
How did I
to be
find you
like,
again? Just like that.
yeah, yeah, no, and I mean doing the Twitch stuff that reconnected me with friends from the UK and from Germany and from someone even sent me a wonderful little gift, and they're on this tiny little island just off the coast of Italy as well, and like it's really cool and really strange to have that perspective of like, shit, just doing videos from this tiny little bedroom in Alabama, and like people have followed my trip to California and just the random shit that's happened since then. It's weird
That was
and
a good
good, but
part of
really
YouTube.
weird.
The best part
It
of
really
YouTube, actually.
was. Yeah. And I mean, that is the best part of YouTube. And it's easy for me being a kind of negative person. Like I'm not a positive, upbeat sort of person in my perspectives. I can get focused on the negatives, which are like, 4chan types rating my live streams and being dicks about it. I had some stalkers, I had some death threats. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Like I had some really weird fuckers reaching out to me and trying to, rattle my nerves. And I think I focused on that aspect a little bit too long. And over the last 10 years, I think it's been more of a healing process of like, oh, wait, there's actually some really nice people out there that aren't assholes. I just need to focus on that and maybe make stuff for them instead of being worried about being targeted. Because the more I've watched the internet, the more I've seen that the more toxic elements of the world using the internet are just gonna screw with people anyway. Doesn't matter what you do. Um,
Definitely.
like the whole Chris Chan thing. Have you been following that?
Christian, I remember which one was it? Which one was it? Because
He's
there were
he's the
many
guy who had
dramas.
like Sonichu or whatever, like
Sanj,
the
Eli,
Pikachu.
he's, yeah, I know. He's
Yeah.
the trans guy.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't even know if I can say guy, but whatever.
Yeah. I think it's they them. I don't know, but
He's in
like
jail. He's the one in jail right now, right? Is it that
yeah,
one? Yeah, I know, I know, I
yeah.
know.
There's some crazy shit going on with
Wow,
that, and like
I know.
that's an example of, well, it's complicated because I believe that he's, you know, uh, I believe he's autistic. I think he's on the spectrum in some fashion. The poor guy's also been abused for a long time. Like he's been targeted for a very long time. But he's also a jerk about some stuff. Like he seems to have some very ignorant opinions, and it's a weird situation because you wonder, like, would he be this way if the internet hadn't fucked with him, like in his life so much,
Isn't
or would he be different? You know?
isn't he the perfect guy for internet to troll on them? He's like the perfect guy.
He's a huge target, yeah. And I mean the stuff that he's done to he's fed the trolls. He is a feast for trolls.
That's
I
why
will
I'm saying
absolutely say
he's
that.
like the perfect guy. Like trolls love guys like that, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's fascinating to see.
Because if a guy is always positive, trolls get bored, you know? At some
Yeah.
point they get bored. But if you feed them, they love it. So,
Oh yeah.
and he wasn't a great guy himself either, so they love to hate him.
Yeah, he was he's not as defensible because he has
Yeah.
shown to be somewhat homophobic from what I've seen as well. And it's, I hate to say this, it's the same reason trash TV was such a big thing. It's fascinating to watch because you're like,
Yeah.
you pity them and you're like, oh, I hope you don't, no, don't do that. Oh, you did that. Oh, no. And now it's a car wreck. And that's what's given him a lot of attention, which he feeds on,
Hmm.
not in a positive way. So like, oh, it's horrible. It's horrible.
You know the movie God Bless America?
Yes. Oh man, that's an amazing film.
Wasn't he? There was a guy like that. Everybody was making fun of him,
Hmm.
but in the end, the guy was saying, "Oh, I like it because it made me famous." So,
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird to see how that goes. And I mean, there are also some toxic personalities that become content creators, and you see that develop over time too. I mean, what Tila Tequila was like that for a bit as well, I think. And then she ended up going really strange, didn't she? I think I saw
I
something about
I
that.
know her, but I only know like a few videos of her. I just know how she looks like.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she's a lot of people they'll get very far on their looks, and then you find out like, oh, they're batshit insane. Like, okay, like whatever works. Like there's some weird stuff.
Yeah, the Paul brothers.
Yeah, those guys, man. The I'll say this: if the Paul brothers had ever been in like a Southern United States whiskey bar and started talking, I don't know if they would have left that bar with all their bones intact. Like I know they probably long overdue for a good old boy beat down. Um,
I couldn't believe Aaron Paul was actually the better one. I think I'm not sure, but he might be.
I don't know.
That guy who
Like,
faked, who saw a fake dead body in Japan. So it's
was the
obviously it
body
was.
fake? I thought it was real because that was a suicide forest, wasn't it?
Yeah, but 100% I guarantee that body was fake.
Was
Because
it really? You don't
what
think
are
he
the
was?
chances? And he was, oh my God, look, there's a dead. I just
I
don't believe
remember
it.
that scandal. Yeah.
And of course, he didn't have the balls to say that it was fake, because like it's
Mm.
even worse. It's even
Yeah.
worse, you know.
Yeah, because
I don't think he would. I don't think he would see for real. Or if he saw for real, I don't think that would be his reaction. I don't know.
maybe it's tough to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys, man, and they do a lot for content. That's what bums me out a lot as well, is how much fake shit is. Like if you have the balls to go into the suicide forest and you're showing an actual corpse, I can't say I respect that, but I would respect that more than faking a
Yeah.
corpse. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they're
That's
all bad, but
that's why he didn't say that. Oh, it was a fake, because it's even worse. So he said,
yeah,
I'm sorry for shooting that dead body, because
he
that's
cares
like,
more for his brand, not for the
yeah.
integrity of what he's doing. Yeah,
So I forgot again. Oh, I was going to write. I was going to write it.
that's fine.
I forgot again.
Yeah, this is a great conversation though. I'm really enjoying myself.
So your real name is Ben Gunn, or your last name is Gunn?
Going, yeah, like you're
I'm,
going somewhere.
I'm going.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. I saw on Instagram it was writing Ben Gunn. So I thought that.
Oh, yeah, that's just me making fun of my
Oh,
last
okay.
name. Instead of going like present tense, gone
Hmm.
like I left.
So when you came back to YouTube, I think you were writing, what was it? That uncle which left for the liquor store came back, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So will that uncle come back?
That's that's the hope. Like I'm awful about saying that I'm coming back and that I'm going to do videos and then I don't do anything for months or a year. And part of the struggle,
Oh, someone's following you.
yeah, someone just followed me. Sorry about that sound. Let me go ahead and mute that. Here we go. I don't know if that's going to come through anymore.
That's
That's
a
coming
Turkish
through
name, by the way.
OBS. What is?
That's a Turkish name, by the way. The guy
What's the Turkish name though?
the guy who's following you. Alper.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, see, this is what I get for using OBS. But we were just talking about, making more content. The tough part that I've been struggling with, I guess, is trying to make the current time funny. And I think there's a problem there for me to confront as a creator, to maybe not focus on the topics that I was going to. Because looking at politics, there's just a lot of creepy shit happening in my country right now. Um, which is like a lot of narrow-minded people. There's the stuff with Trump and with like the January 6th stuff. Um, it's just a really weird time, and there's some really ignorant people in my country's politics. And the other side is if you start talking about politics as a primary focus, you become the political channel. And there's a lot of that already out there, and I don't think
Oh, people are following you.
I keep getting followers.
It's
So
okay. It's
hold
okay.
on,
No
I'm
problem.
gonna disable some of these.
Oh, no problem.
That's kind of you guys. Thank you for following. But what I feel is happening at the moment, especially with the politics happening. Sorry, I need to do this right now.
No problem.
Let me go into my audio settings real quick. You guys are awesome, though. Thank you very much for the follows happening here in the background.
So I didn't understand, but your Twitch wasn't on. You weren't streaming on Twitch, but they came anyway. Is it like that?
So what's happening is OBS is actually sending information through, and I'm trying to.
So you have the virtual
It actually
camera.
monitors it.
You have the virtual
Yeah,
camera.
it is the OBS
okay.
virtual camera.
Oh, okay, okay. Now I understand.
Yeah. So I'm just making those adjustments really quick, because otherwise it's just going to keep going.
It's okay. Meanwhile, I can check some.
Unhide all.
So you did lose followers when you quit, right?
Yes. This is the most wholesome way to have an interruption. Let's see. Where is? Let me see if I can turn this down here.
Telefonla oynamıyorum arkadaşlar. Şeylere bakıyorum. I'm not playing with phone, guys. Ben already knows. I'm just saying it to the chat. I'm not playing with phone. I'm just checking the questions.
This might have done it. If not, I'm going to have to figure out a different way to go through it. So my apologies if you guys hear any of those those alerts kind of keep going.
No problem.
I will do my best. So anyway, what I was saying is I was talking about content creation. Yeah. So because of the pandemic and local politics and stuff, it's been so grim that I just didn't feel like making too much content. But I think if I bring it back to what I was grounded in and just making it about a personal video blog and just talk about the day-to-day stuff and my random thoughts, maybe that'll be enjoyable. I'm not really sure. I'll have to get some feedback from people as I make videos. But something I've struggled with is being a perfectionist, or if not a perfectionist, somebody that over-engineers an idea in my head and then fails to start creating. So instead of procrastinating because I don't want to do it, I make it such a large scale idea, or I try and refine it and rehash it so much that I just don't end up doing it. So what I need to start doing is just create to get that completed and done, and let it be what it is. You know, not worry about it too much. Just focus on content creation rather than making something and overthinking it. So overthinking has been one of my biggest struggles with content creating, and self-criticism. When I see myself on camera, I think like, oh, well, shit, I've rambled too much. This isn't going to be interesting to people. Or I need to cut out this one little part because I restate things. And it's funny because now on YouTube, people do video essays that are hours long. Podcasts are 2 or 3 hours. And people were giving me shit about like 10 or 12-minute videos. So I need to get out of that mindset and start to go like, okay, people are all right with long form content. I just need to figure out what I want to do. So long story short, yes, I hope to make content again soon.
Do you have anything in your mind? Like just talking or just some kind of videos?
Say again, please. Sorry, my alert was going again.
Do you have anything in mind? Is it going to be like before, like talking in front of the camera, or some other type of video?
Probably talking in front of the camera for the most part. I do have more camera equipment now, so I could do some more interesting style videos. You know, it doesn't have to be webcam like this, but I do have a DSLR and a few different lenses that I can use, like a 50 millimeter lens and a wide angle lens, as well as some lighting equipment. So I think I can experiment a little bit more now, and it won't be just like this, you know. But I think a little bit of both. These are easier to do because it's right here, it's at the desk. I have a screen where I can have my script or bullet points, you know, of topics that I want to talk about. But I do think that I want to do other subjects too. Like I just need to figure out a good way to branch out.
Mhm.
Is there anything like as somebody that had been watching since 2006? Thank you again, by the way. Is there anything that you would like? Is there anything that you would suggest that that you would like me to do?
First of all, it's really good that you didn't change your style. It's really good that you didn't you didn't become color or something, because your hardcore fans are probably going to like you for the nostalgia, of course. Obviously, you can have new fans also, but I'm just being selfish. I'm sorry.
I don't mind.
And also,
I like it too, because if I were to do it there, like I would have to worry about mixing colors and stuff. This makes it easier for me to make.
also, again, people like me, we miss those times when people used to just sit in front of the camera and tell their story. Why was it nice? Maybe the new people or the young people don't find it attractive or something, but for us, it was like it was literally like the invention of TV, you know? Because the invention of TV, you look at the TV, you see, wow, people in USA, what are they doing? So it was like that for us. So I was saying, oh, that's like a random guy in Australia. That's like a random guy in Japan. That's like a random guy in Britain. Many guys, different guys in USA. You know, that was the shit for me. That was why I loved YouTube. You know,
Yeah.
before people knew about YouTube, that's why I loved, because we didn't have people knowing YouTube in Turkey. We were making videos, and people were asking, where are you going to put these videos? You know, which channel? And we said we're going to put it on YouTube. And they were saying, YouTube? Isn't that the group? Isn't that the band? YouTube?
Yeah.
They didn't even know what YouTube meant. You know?
Yeah, that's weird, wasn't it? And now it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Like it's literally just a brand, you know.
I was thinking, for example, like Madonna, you know, now that 80s style music is back, I was thinking, instead of trying to imitate the new guys, you know, making electronic music, making all kinds of stuff, if she made like an album which is like La Isla Bonita, those songs, you know, or Papa Don't
Yeah.
Preach, people would like it, because
Really
people
go
like
nuts for it.
retro.
Or Paula Abdul, you know, like people from back in the 80s, like CeCe Peniston, I bet would kill right now. Like people need that they're looking for that. I think it's authenticity.
Yeah.
I think when you look at people that rediscover that, you know, they're so jaded with how manufactured and uniform it is in their current time that they look back to the previously manufactured stuff that was stylized back in the 80s or 90s, because they think that, oh, that was really how they felt. No, I mean, it might have been, but it was like that was just their patterning at that point, you know, because those of us that were in that time period, you know, like the 90s, people see the 90s and maybe they think like, oh man, everywhere was like Seattle grunge and like Kurt Cobain and like, oh, it was really like legit. No, it fucking wasn't. That was just what was broadcast. Like that's what happened, you know, like you weren't defined necessarily by the media that was going on then. You just consumed it. Like that wasn't your day to day. People weren't actually like that. Yeah, there were a lot of people with like ripped jeans and flannel shirts around their fucking waist, you know, but not a lot. Some of them, like the trendy people, but it's not the same, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're still in Alabama?
No, I'm in South Carolina now, which is a little bit to the east of Alabama, but I had moved to Colorado and I was living in Denver for a few years before moving here. So I still have family in Alabama and some friends, but I haven't visited in a while.
Okay. Like, do you recommend like visitors to visit places like that, Alabama and stuff like
No,
that? No,
no, I
nothing
don't think
touristy?
so. Well, I mean, Alabama has some things. Where I was at was in Huntsville, which is associated with the space program. So if someone is really into rocketry or NASA or the Marshall Space Flight Center, um, or if they're weirdly into stuff like Operation Paperclip, like, there were German scientists and shit that came over to the United States and settled in that area, for the space program. There's some weird stuff happening there. Um, that's really the only reason to go to Huntsville. It's gotten a lot more attention, but it's just a small town. But when it comes down to Alabama, it's a really insulated place that doesn't take kindly to outsiders. Like it's very country, and I don't know if people would have a good time going there. Um, those sound alerts are great.
Oh.
Sorry, guys. Are you guys hearing that, or is it
No,
just
no.
coming through the mic?
No, no, we don't hear.
Oh, so it's not broadcasting through. Okay,
No, but
that's fine.
we just hear very little coming from your
Yeah, you
headphones.
probably hear like the little like top notes of it, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's this weird like gremlin voice saying thanks for the follow, and it's happening every time, which is great because people are following, but I'm just like, I don't know. It's funny.
Well, all the better another excuse for you to come back yani.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely encouraging things. I'll say that much.
Maybe you'll have a big fan base in Turkey. Who knows?
Maybe. I mean, you guys have been very kind so far and very welcome. Like I appreciate it. I've seen some things in the chat as well. I've been mainly focusing on our conversation, but you seem to have a
Hmm.
pretty good audience here as well. Good turnout.
So you're talking about.
Now,
Oh, you're saying.
well, if you don't mind, let me
No
let
problem,
me
no
ask you
problem.
something real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have something like 500,000 subscribers on
Six,
YouTube
almost
currently,
six,
correct?
almost six.
Almost six.
593,000.
So knowing how weird it was to me at my phase of time, and we touched on this a little bit earlier. I mean, do you get recognized when you're
Oh,
going about your daily life?
I can't walk in the street for reals.
Honestly,
It's so interesting. It's very
just get
interesting
mobbed
because
by people that want to take photos and stuff.
yeah, yeah. Uh, it's really interesting because if you check it out, 600,000 is nothing compared to actual YouTube celebrities. I
That's
al-
still a lot.
I don't consider myself. I still consider myself as a minor celebrity because for me, an actual celebrity because I also had live shows with actual celebrities in Turkey, of course. You're the first foreigner one, by the way.
Oh, thank you. That's a huge privilege.
It's a big project for me, by the way. Uh, Sorry, I know I'm digressing, but this is also something big for me. I'm really glad you came and you started this because I really want to build bridges. Why? Because like-minded people, I see like-minded people all the time thanks to YouTube. You know, I'm saying this guy lives all the way across the world, but he could be my best friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My
No,
wife
I
was like that.
absolutely get that.
She lived in another country, but she's very like-minded with me. She's like I don't know, from my neighborhood or something. So I was thinking like we could build bridges, like-minded people, you know?
A great idea. Yeah, and
Uh,
I felt similarly. Like I've always felt that not that we're outcasts, but that we're a very specific
yeah,
set of like being secular but also creative. I think that community building is something that I've seen a lot of value in, where you kind of go like, hey, uh, similarly, I have friends in Europe and abroad where you kind of go like, man, I wish we could all hang out. Like I
yeah.
wish there was like just a little spot for us to all congregate and hang out and share and exchange those thoughts, because it's on one side it's a little bit of a filter bubble, just to be honest, like where it's like, okay, people that agree with me, that's cool, I can get along with them. But I feel like there would be enough variance in those ideas and perspectives that you could grow your perspective and you could find out a lot of really great, bits of information and perspectives from like-minded folks. So I'm there with you entirely. I
Especially
think building
people
bridges
living
is
in
important.
different countries, you know, far away from you.
Yeah. It would definitely resolve a lot of like miscommunications that happen culturally too, because that's too easy these days.
When I came to Seattle, I taught the kids, I taught Indian kids, so I learned so much about the Indian culture. So
Yeah. So like the head bobble.
I feel like I feel like a grown man, you know. I feel like a more mature man, and it really makes me happy to see different type of people, different kinds of cultures, and see different places, you know. That's like happiness
Enriching.
for me. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
It's like making money for me, you know.
Well, I think that it's fulfilling on a different level because as opposed to like knowledge which has utility, which then has application when you're like, okay, so I learned this tool or this skill to make this product or whatever. When you gain perspectives, the world has more depth.
Yeah,
You understand it a little bit more and you have a better appreciation for how someone else can approach a similar experience differently. And I think that there's a lot of value to that. It's funny being a secular person to still apply the phrase that it waters your soul a little bit, where you're just like, okay, cool, this helps make everything a little bit better.
see another proof that we are getting older, because we are saying, guys, see, knowledge is the biggest treasure. Yeah, that's exactly like what old people say, but it's true. Guys, it's true.
That's the funny thing, right? Is if you don't experience things the way you do when you're younger, like in your 20s, you can't appreciate how how right and wrong older folks were
Yeah,
when you were younger, right? It's all part of that path. I think that you can only be old by being young first. You can only be
yeah,
intelligent by being sufficiently stupid in advance.
yeah. So I'm sorry, I started answering your question, but I
Mhm.
digressed. So you were asking if people recognize me on the street?
Yeah, what's that like? I mean, is it for me, having the ability to not be harassed when I'm going shopping or doing whatever is very important to me. So, is it limiting? Does it bother you? Do you have any issues with people trying to like follow you
Sometimes,
home and stuff?
sometimes, sometimes it bothers me because instead of coming and saying hi or instead of coming and like taking a photo or something,
Hmm.
people look at you like this. Sometimes they look,
Oh, that'd be
they
weird.
point, they laugh, they point and laugh. Of course, they think that I don't see, but of course I see, you
You're
know.
gonna notice. Yeah.
And they think that they're looking without me noticing, but they do. But 90% is good. You know, 90% they just come, they say hi, they take photos, they don't bother me too much. So, I
Not
don't
too
know.
bad.
Interestingly, like Istanbul, there is so much more people. I would expect to be recognized even more. But when I went to Istanbul, maybe they got used to seeing even more even bigger celebrities or whatever. I don't know. Uh, or maybe it was just that day. It was just I didn't see anyone. But like
It might
as
be like Los Angeles. You get used to seeing like
yeah,
movie stars and people
it
walking
might
around,
be.
and you're just it's almost tacky to be like shocked by them. Like
Yeah.
the locals are like, oh, come on, it's just Keanu Reeves. Like, relax, like whatever. They'll be here all week. Maybe that's it.
And in Izmir, there's far less people actually. But as soon as the plane landed and I got in the train, it started again. It's very interesting.
So with Izmir, I don't know much about that region, but I mean, is that a big part of who you are and your content? Is it that, hey, I'm a person from here representing this area and my opinions? Like, would you say that's a big part of your video presence?
It can be because I also do trekking videos, and of course I'm secular like many of the Izmir people,
Yeah.
but not 100%. Because
Oh, okay.
you know that thing called regressive left, so
Yes.
or far left or regressive left. So
Hmm.
the people governing in Izmir are slowly leaning towards that. So I just don't like that, you know? I just don't
Yeah.
like some of the things. So I'm not a leftist either. Sorry, my personal view is that you don't have to put yourself in a stencil, you know, in a mold,
Yeah.
calling yourself leftist or rightist, because when you look from a broader perspective, you see some things leftists get correct, and some of the things rightists get correct.
Absolutely.
I couldn't even call myself centrist because obviously centrists also have their own molds. So
Yeah.
I'm just
It's
me.
tough. Yeah, and I'm there with you as well. It's the what's the term? Polarization
Yeah,
of political views. And I completely agree with you because but it's difficult because if you're not definite team A or team B, both sides think you're a jerk. Here in the South,
Yeah.
especially in South Carolina, it's very Republican. You get a lot of people that are in support of Trump. I don't support that person. And I also don't support heavily left things either. I own guns, for one example, right? Some people on the left, they go, oh, we can't have guns at all. And I go, well, I think that people could own guns responsibly, but don't be a jerk about it, and don't carry them around. Don't be violent with them. I just like shooting targets. But some people, when they get guns, they think, I'm going to carry it all the time. I'm going to carry it to the grocery store. I'm going to have it,
In there you're
on my
allowed, right?
person.
In there you're
Yeah,
allowed.
in America, you're allowed to do that in most places. Like, you have to have permits. It's like a license, I guess, to carry. It's called like a concealed carry permit, that kind of thing. I don't personally do that. Members of my family do that, and I think, you've now increased the possibility of shooting your own ass or penis by greater than 0.01%, which is way too much of a possibility for someone like me. But also, B, that's scary, man. Like, you're carrying a gun around. If you pull that weapon, you're already having a worse day than you should have had. Play for position. Don't go into a dangerous area. Avoid that at all costs. You don't need to carry the weapon. And their defense is like, well, what if someone comes and tries to rob me? And I'm like, then you've already fucked up. Don't go to that area. Like, be more proactive about your safety if you can. And I understand it's a complex issue, but I guess what happens is, when you take all or nothing as a perspective instead of giving people options, that is not great. Like, I like the idea of people being trusted to not be dangerous. I know that's not always possible, and there's always the chance of there being issue. But I'm there with you in that, having lived in Colorado and Denver, which is a very left, very blue region, extreme leftists are really obnoxious, and they have a completely different form of snobby, you have to believe what I believe, otherwise you're a bad person sort of perspective. And I don't like that. I think both sides get things right and both sides get things very wrong. And centrists, again, can be their own issues there too. I mean, it's crazy.
I don't know if you want to hear opinions about guns, about my opinions about guns.
Sure, yeah, why not?
Because I think I can give you another insight, because I've been living in Turkey and USA at the same time. So I was thinking I can never have guns. In Turkey, I could never have guns, because first of all, I'm a martial artist guy. So for me, guns is like a cop out. Guns is
Right, yeah.
for me. Like, I have a katana here, in there, a real one, a real katana here. But
well, you study Aikido, correct?
yes, I teach.
Yeah, okay.
I teach Aikido. But after I came to USA, I said to myself, if I would stay here, I would probably buy a gun. Especially if I would have one of those houses, not apartments, but houses. I would probably buy a gun, because it looks so unsafe. It's not like a community we have here. We have a community.
Yeah.
So in here, surely if you have a gun, you're most likely to get angry and shoot someone for no reason, and then go to prison for no reason. Not even for saving your own life or something. But in USA, it's a little different, I might.
And it's not ideal.
Maybe I would buy a gun. Sorry?
Well, it's not ideal. I'll say that much, because a lot of people that own guns do it out of fear, and they think. I guess the reasons for owning guns are different for a lot of folks. Most people seem to think that if you own a gun, you think that you need to carry it around, or you're going to overtake the government and stuff. Like, there's some creepy stuff going on right now, no doubt. There are like militia people that think that I don't even want to go into all that. There's some creepy stuff. But I think that for a lot of people, owning a weapon is part of who they are as a personality. Like, they're gun people.
Oh, we have in Turkey also. Like, you don't have to take a photo with your gun,
Yeah, it's too much. Like, it's no good as far as I'm concerned. Like, and I'm with you. Like, I haven't studied martial arts. I'm not skilled in martial arts. If I'm going to get into a fight, I'm going to get my ass kicked. But that means my strategy is to avoid getting into a fight, to be diplomatic, to try not to piss people off. You know, don't
Aikido
get
is all
into a
about that
bar
also,
fight.
actually. Aikido is all
I,
about that also. No be there, like Mr.
yeah,
Miyagi says.
don't be there. Like as best you can do, right? And I think that it's not that I'm averse to conflict, it's that I don't want to invite conflict. It's not something that I want to do because, you know, I'm not narrow-minded enough to need to say, you know, fuck you and I'll fight you for this opinion. My opinions can move around and I don't need to hit someone and end up getting them in the hospital or get hit and end up in the hospital or injured for the rest of my life over a dumb argument that's for 5 or 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Like nothing, in my opinion, is worth. I'm not arrogant enough to believe that my opinions are that definite that I will take a punch to the face that'll break my eye socket or break my jaw or you know, hurt someone else and impact them or their family. And I don't have enough pride to say that I'm important enough to get into a fight. I'll just go, cool. You're fucking right. Whatever, man. I'm gonna go. Have a beer on me. Like, here you go. Like, it's not that deep. But absolutely, the most important thing about fighting is to not do it. And you know, I think that that's worth saying. I don't like hanging out with people that are too violent or unhinged and get like really like aggressive and shit. Like if there's someone in my friend group that's throwing beer bottles or picking fights with random assholes, then maybe it's time for me to leave that friend group. I'm not really needing to hang out with those folks. But
Uh,
that's just me.
I used to have that also. Those
Yeah.
those those friends also. But how
Yeah, and
about
it's
yeah?
some people confuse that and think that I'm a pacifist or something. And the truth is, like, if I get into a survival situation where I have to defend myself, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I have to do. Like, I'm gonna pick up something heavy and hope to God my aim is okay because I don't know how to fight. Like, I just hope I won't die. But like, I don't think that violence should be used as a first tool of sorting out arguments. There's too many other options.
How about potential assailants? Because in Seattle, we lived in Seattle.
Mhm.
Seattle and Linwood, which was north of Seattle, I think, and Everett.
Yeah.
Uh, I saw so many locals, so many crazy people. Because if you walk on the street, because
Oh
we didn't
yeah.
have a car, so we had to walk on the street,
Oh,
and
there's a lot of crazies.
regular
Yeah.
people weren't walking. You know, most because regular people have cars most of the time. That's how it was in
Yeah.
Seattle. So you would see junkies. It was like Walking Dead, you know. You would
Oh
see
yeah.
junkies. Because in Seattle, you know, smoking weed is also legal. So
Mhm.
many junkies walking on the street, many
You get that
crazy
in Denver
people.
too.
Like in the first days, it felt funny, you know. Oh, it's a crazy person. Like you take a video or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a novelty. You're like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, this
yeah,
is
yeah.
super weird, and
But
then
like
it's every day.
yeah, after months later, it's not even funny anymore, and you have to save your ass. Like
Yeah.
there was a guy who got on me, you know, who got on my nerves,
Yeah.
and they were saying he's just provoking you that you would hit him or something so he can sue you. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything because I was saved by a
Hmm.
bicycle guy,
Yeah.
and so there were people like that, you know, and I saw many times when homeless people
Happens a
or
lot.
crazy people assaulting others,
Hmm.
you know,
They get
and
desperate. You know, they have
yeah,
nothing to lose at that stage. They will do whatever they can to survive, and if it, you know, assuming they're not completely unhinged, and some of them are, you know, there's some. Unfortunately, there's many people that are homeless that are unable to support themselves and are not in the right frame of mind to
yeah,
support themselves, and they will run into traffic, they will attack someone,
yeah,
and they're usually not attacking someone out of aggression, they're attacking out
yeah,
of fear, they're terrified and panicked, and they think that you're actually an aggressor or a monster in their world. And it's freaky. I've never been to Seattle, but in Denver, there's a street called Colfax, which is a very long street that has a lot of, you know, shops, commerce. There's a lot of people and a lot of homeless people as well. And you know, if I were in a situation, and I have been mugged before, someone held me up at knife point actually, and said, "Give me everything that's in your wallet." and I gave them what was in my wallet. It was fucking nothing. I had no money. I had a card, like a credit card, and my driver's license, and I was like, "Cool, bro, have at it. It's a Velcro, you know. Like it's just you're not getting rich today, but just don't hurt me, you know." But like if I had someone coming at me with like a knife or something, like it would have like I'm assuming you're saying like nobody's attacking me with a rifle at a distance, like it has to be within arm's reach. I would try not to get hit, right? I would try and move out of the way. I'd try to take whatever they were attacking me with, unless it's a really big fucking knife that would hurt me in trying to reach for it. And then I would try to restrain them so that they wouldn't hurt me or themselves. You know, like I'd try and bear hug them from behind or something and get a hold of their wrists and hope they weren't trying to kick me in the balls. You know, like that's the most that I would really want to do. Like a lot of people, they get aggressive and they think, oh, well, I'm going to punch them in the face a lot and teach them a lesson they won't regret. Like, I don't want to do that. That's probably going to hurt my hand too. I just want to stop them from attacking me until someone else can get this person under control. Like, that's really what I would do. So I guess I would be more of a submission fighter or a grappler type than a striker. I've punched people when I was a kid and when I was in a fight, but I don't think I'd want to do that now. There's too many things that could happen.
Yeah. When did you get where did you get mugged? Denver?
No, this is when I was in Los Angeles.
Oh,
So I didn't have a vehicle for a minute before I moved back to Florida,
you were only
and
yourself?
then I was what?
You were only yourself?
Yeah,
You were
I
alone?
was all by myself. Yeah, and I was riding on the bus to get home, and I left the bus in a bad neighborhood because there wasn't a connecting bus. I ended up walking through a bad part of town, and someone came out from an alley that I had walked past, and got a hold of my arm and put their knife to my neck from behind, and it was just like, give me all your money type of thing. Like it happened so fast. Like I didn't even get to look at them because they were behind me, and like I think it was like a restraining hold that they had
Hmm.
my arm in, but I felt the knife on my neck, and I basically just had a hand free to reach for my pocket and put it over my shoulder, and they took it and ran off.
Wow, that was interesting.
It's freaky. I'm glad that they didn't do anything really harmful. It was a scary moment, but yeah, that was a bummer day.
Yeah, just like Seattle, Izmir, as I said, is becoming a little too regressive left. Well, that was one of the things I was saying. So they have this mindset, the extreme left, or let's say the regressive left or something. They have
Yeah.
this mindset. They think that if you give money to these people, they will stop doing these things. They will stop mugging people. Or if you give money to homeless people, that's going to solve problem. No, it doesn't. You know.
Um,
And that's why people started calling Seattle Freeattle. And the homeless people uh, got even more. Why? Because they started coming from other cities to Seattle.
yeah.
So I see Izmir becoming like that. And I really don't like it. You know?
Well, something that happened here as well, because some of this was happening to Denver too, is that other places within the country, like what we call red states, right? So Republican, very right-handed states, they would literally pay for bus tickets and give them to homeless people to send them to Denver or Seattle, what they would refer to as sanctuary states that were easy on homeless people. So that had, the combination of like, oh, well, a $50 bus ticket, I get rid of my homeless
Yeah.
person, move the problem over. So it was more than just homeless people going there because they thought it was a good idea. For example, Denver, I mean, that gets very, very cold. It gets it's very high altitude, so it can be a struggle to live there if you have lung problems, like respiratory problems, because it's less oxygen content. Now, somewhere like California, like in Los Angeles, it's almost understandable why someone would be homeless there. It's practically always 70 some odd degrees. There's not a lot of weather fluctuations. It doesn't rain very often. If you were homeless, you could be very comfortable in that area if you consider weather, environmental concerns. Like that actually makes some form of sense. But somewhere like Denver, it makes less sense because you could freeze to death very easily there. They get a lot of snowfall and it's very dry and arid. Like there's a lot more ways to die there. Um, But yeah, I agree with you that just you can't throw money at this problem. There's too many problems that are at the root that would be addressed that should be taken care of. Mental health is a big part of that, where they don't address that properly because the previous solution to mental health was lock them away. And then, unfortunately, in these mental health facilities back in the 50s and 60s, there was a lot of sexual abuse. These poor people were being
Yeah.
abused by their caretakers. Um, there was a lot of crazy things that happened with that too, where orphanages were merged with mental care facilities, and now these poor orphans were being exposed to people that were having mental health struggles and also being abused. There's a horrible line of atrocities that happen with mismanaging mental health and the root cause for a number of things that cause people to be homeless. Um, but I think the unfortunate part of today is that both sides are either ignoring or mismanaging the same issues and nothing's getting done in a structured way. Like, I wish we could do more of a scientific method of like, okay, look, we have the three most logical ways of solving this problem, and we're going to try out one for a little while, like, try different groups. We're going to try doing maybe universal basic income for this side that's having economic struggles. We're going to try mental health counseling for this side, and then we're going to try maybe tiny homes for this other side. We're going to try this for a trial period of a year, have a certain amount of participants, right? So we have a good amount of data. And then after that year is done, we're going to pull back these programs, and then we're going to see what caused the best effect, what had the expected outcome, right? You test and then you replicate.
Yeah.
And if we did that, we might actually be able to make some fucking progress. But for now, people are just arguing over and over again and going like, "Oh, we'll try this one thing." Well, no, we won't try it. You suck, and here's why. Like, it's political football, and it's really exhausting. Like, at this stage, make mistakes, just do the damn thing. Like, try it out and learn. But we're too busy arguing, you know?
I think they're just trying to get rid of those people, They're just trying to put
Yeah.
them in one place, okay, away from the society, okay. Problem solved.
Yeah.
Pull them under the
I
rug.
think they're doing that near Miami.
Sweep them under the rug.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind, right? I mean, like,
Yeah.
that's what they think, is that, they're just going to forget that it exists and then it'll solve itself, and that's not cool. That's not really how that works.
Yeah.
It's kind of like people that think that cops are always good, and then they make a mistake, an honest
Yeah.
mistake, and then the cop pulls them over, and they're like, "But I'm not a bad person." They think that if you're being talked to by the cops, you're automatically a bad person. They're like, "Well, you just ran a traffic light," and they're like, "Oh, it was an innocent mistake. It could happen to everyone." Like, now you fucking see what some of the problems could be related to.
Mm-hmm.
People are weird like that.
By the way, what time is it in there?
It's almost 6 o'clock. It's getting kind of late for you, isn't it?
No problem.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm a late night guy. So for me,
gotcha.
I
Yeah.
just wanted to know.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm here as long as you want.
Okay. I might be
You
able
can
to
try
do.
me. You can try me.
I might be able to do one more hour, and then I might have to
No
call
problem.
it quits because I have some things this evening. But this is great. I'm really enjoying myself. So yes, let's continue, please.
That video where you were with 4 people, you actually talked about it in your stream, in one of your recent stream. 4 of you, 4 Boh3ms. Do you remember that?
Oh
Very old
yeah,
video.
I do. Yeah, that was not a great video, but it was fun to make.
So when you talked about it, I instantly remembered it, because
Yeah.
when I saw that video, when it was uploaded, when I saw that video, I was like, how did he do that? And I started investigating. Investigating, and I found out that you can do it with Adobe Premiere, I think, back in the day,
Yeah.
the oldest version. I don't know how you did it, but
I'm pretty sure
realized-
that's how I did it. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I cropped out the videos after sandwiching them on top of each other.
So I tried my own, actually, like
Yeah?
me talking to another guy or something of myself, me talking to another me.
Yeah.
So I tried those ones.
It's not easy to do. And like part of what happened with that video there was so many ham-fisted things. So that video is a great example of me playing with the medium and enjoying myself because I've never been like an effects-centered guy, but I was like, I need to see how to do this. Because one of the favorite things that I did when I was on DeviantArt, right? What started me with digital art in the first place was Photoshop, right? Photo manipulations and stuff. And what I would do is I would take something like my bedroom or like a living room scene, and I would put myself doing various tasks in that same one and then splice them all together, right?
Mm-hmm.
That to me was a fun format. So I wanted to see if I could do it with video. With that video, I sandwiched everything on top of each other. I masked out the video other than the extremities of wherever I was moving, right? So if I would, like, let's say I was sitting on top of something, like, can't remember exactly what it was at the time, like maybe it's a chair or something, but I would look at where my legs and arms would go, and I would go like, okay, cool. So wherever the farthest point is, I'm just going to cut around that because it's extra video that doesn't need to be, and it's covered by one of the other parts. So I did that a bunch, but then I realized the sound, like the ambient sound that was in all those videos was clashing because I had, cars going by or crickets or whatever. So I had to choose only one of the audio feeds, which I think was just crickets. But it was so, like, it bothered me to watch it later on because there was no sound or even like Foley effects of me like on the porch. Like looking back at it, I could have done a little bit more, but that was a lot of fun for me to make at one point. I think that was one of my first projects in Adobe Premiere. That may have been why I got Premiere at that stage, was just to make that video.
So you used also Premiere?
I did. Yeah.
I didn't know. I just tried a few and I realized, oh, Premiere works.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for the most part, I used Windows Movie Maker, which was free, because all I did was the black and white filter and then cuts, just jump cuts. But Adobe Premiere it was easier to work with multiple videos to like cut back and forth, A reel and B reel, and then to do different audio effects and stuff like that. It gave me a lot more control.
Yeah. So people in the chat or people watching us, yeah, we used to have a time like that where we were trying to figure out, okay, how do I put a text? Okay, or how do I put music at the background? How do I put sound effects? Because I didn't use Windows Movie Maker. As I said, I had virtual dub mode. It was like 1 megabyte. So what was I doing? I was checking like, okay, in 23.6, I'm going to put like a bang, and then I would go to Cool Edit Pro, which you can edit the sound, and I would go to that second, and of course I would have a list like this. Okay, 23.6 bang, and then I would have something like a paste mix, not just paste but paste mix. So, that was like a huge thing for me. I was saying, oh, you can do that paste mix? Oh, that's great. So I can have sound
or you
and
count
music.
Frames.
I can have sound and music at the same time because I know before. Like you have to choose. You had to choose. Should I have sound? Should I have music? And then with the paste mix, you can have both of them. Wow, that's like rocket science.
It was a game changer, right? Because I mean, you could try
next level.
It was like Audacity was what we were using like way back because it was open source. That or Windows Sound Recorder, and it was almost like splicing in a mixtape or something. Like you tried your best. I remember at one point I tried to like use my mic on my speakers to like it was bad. There were a lot of mistakes made, but yeah, you did whatever you could. Like it was a learning experience for sure. Like there's a lot of shortcuts now that are made specifically for, well, like we were talking about earlier, your phone can do so much and so much is intuitive, like masking. When you go to programs like Google Meet or Zoom or even this, where there are filters that'll blur out your background or change it to something that you've chosen automatically based off of AI, that shit didn't exist.
Of course.
You had to literally have a blue screen or a green screen and then chroma key, and then even that, like if you didn't
magic.
have the
black
light
magic.
Just right, it's such magic.
It's blue. It's voodoo magic, man.
Kids these days, man, like we had it so much tougher. Yeah, no, it was a whole thing. It was, but
right?
you learned a lot more, I think, and that's what I think is going to be interesting. Is I think you get the skill of not only the primitive version of what people have the benefit of now, but I think more than that, you get the experience of making your own tools and figuring out hackarounds to do unique stuff,
Yeah.
which helps in other projects. So it's a mixed bag, but I'm grateful for the experience.
Right now I'm using DaVinci Resolve, and it's like it's
I'm
magic.
trying to learn
It's
DaVinci
it's
Resolve.
magic,
There's
you
so
know?
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has that magic mask. But even if it
And it
doesn't
does
have,
so much in there.
yeah, and even if it's not perfect, the magic mask, wherever it's not perfect, it doesn't matter anyway because you can hand draw yourself like this,
Yeah.
and then you just say track, and you make a power window, for example. You make a power
Yeah.
window of yourself, and then you just say track. It tracks perfectly. You don't even have to say okay, track here, track there, choose a point, choose. No, you don't have. You just say track, or
Well, do you remember the orange video when I was out in
how was it?
California? It was an orange like I was out in California and there was like a an orange in this video where I'm trying to like eat an orange or something and my roommate comes in and I end up like curb stomping the orange in his mouth or something stupid like that.
I watched all your videos, but I don't remember that one. I probably watched it, but I forgot probably.
Yeah. Well, I just remember masking by hand and adjusting all of the pen points frame by frame for I must have put in at least 16 hours and it's not a long video. There's not a lot to it. But when you
Lightsabers
think
were
about
like
how
that
much
also.
time to get back. Yeah, yeah, lightsabers were rotoscoped, I think
Yeah,
is the term. Yeah.
because I was checking lots of tutorials, and they were all saying that's the way. You have to do it frame by frame, and that's how I did
Oh yeah.
with my video.
The best you could do would be with keyframes. If you were lucky to have one constant move, you know, where you're like,
Yeah.
okay, well, this needs to be, you know, I know this endpoint and there's no weird transitions or jitters in the middle. Yeah, there's so much.
Do you remember those lightsaber videos back in the day, like
Yeah.
Dorkman versus Ryan? Or oh, they were amazing. They were great.
Yeah, that was cutting edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like
For that time.
even the edits where they would take TV shows or something that didn't have a lightsaber effect and make fun of it by throwing it in there, or Star Wars Kid. You know, do you remember when they started making parody videos of that guy? That was pretty funny. You know what I'm talking about when I say Star Wars Kid?
No, which one was
So
it?
it was one of the earlier viral videos of this kid in his garage with like it's like a golf ball retriever stick or something, and he's like it's like a bow staff almost, and he's like spinning it around and
He's
like
falling down.
he's wearing
Is that one?
I think so. He's kind of
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like an overweight kid. And he's wearing like a striped shirt, like a button-up shirt.
I didn't know he was called Star Wars Kid.
That they I think that's what they call him, and they edited it to be like the Phantom Menace, you know, like Darth Maul and all that. Yeah, but yeah, that was an interesting time, and it was always like that, really. I mean, you'd get a weird effect, and people would think that you were like using magician tricks.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes they were like there were some people using invisible thread or different stuff from that same way of you did that too. Yeah, I mean it's funny too because you wonder how much you can get away with. That's
Yeah.
really the thing is you're like, okay, well now that I have the ability to use invisible thread and the ability to mask out if I see that thread, you know, in my video to cover up my tracks a little bit more, what can I get away with?
Guess what?
It's funny.
Guess what?
What's
Now they have wire removal tool. You can just have an actual
Yeah.
wire and it just removes.
saw that.
It just removes, yani.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like holy crap. Yeah.
We're definitely old people. Looking
Oh,
at
yeah.
the TV or something. Wow, that's a TV. Wow. But it is amazing.
It
young
is,
young
and
people are just
it's
born
nice.
with it. Of course,
Well,
just like we were
We get the
saying.
appreciation of it.
Yeah, just like we were saying, oh, TV is just TV, you know? We don't know how amazing TV is. It's just like that, probably.
Well, yeah. I mean, even computers, right? I mean, from people that were older than us, they were like, "Oh, computers used to be an entire room," you know, or you would never have a computer in your home. People that had one television and that was their big luxury, one television and one telephone on the wall near the kitchen.
Yeah.
You know, the things that we have, you know, I've got a computer, you know, that's a smart coffee maker or something. Like it's so strange now because of how things have progressed. You know, people have Wi-Fi connected light bulbs. It's a
Yeah,
very
yeah,
weird
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart. Yeah, you can say
Yeah.
turn on.
That's so weird too. Like to think about all that, like home automation and what could be done with AI and even just small computers. Like I've started looking into Raspberry Pi and Python scripting. Like I've started trying to learn a little bit about those, and it's fascinating what you can do with just a little bit of information.
Did you see Tinkercad?
No, what's Tinkercad?
I'll show you something. Just one
Hmm.
second.
Sure, yeah,
I think you can still hear me, by the way,
I
but I
can.
can't
Yeah,
hear you.
that's funny. It's just you and me, chat. Oh, human being, Family Guy or The Simpsons. So I'm just answering this question in chat really quick while you're
Yeah,
settling.
no problem.
So between Family Guy or The Simpsons, I think that The Simpsons was, and this is going to suck to say, but the truth is they were great a long time ago, and then their writing got really less funny as time went on. Family Guy was good in small doses, but it was sort of the same style. It was always,
Same gimmick.
this is like that time that would like, yeah, and it was great for a while because it was fast. You know what I mean? Like it was very, very fast jokes. But The Simpsons did jokes really well crafted
Hmm.
early on, which I don't think Family Guy did. Um, if that makes sense. So I I like them both for different reasons. I think The Simpsons maybe I liked more when it was good, but I still got a lot of enjoyment out of Family Guy. So what's this thing you're gonna show?
By the way, The Simpsons, uh,
Hmm.
until 20th, was it 20 or something season I watched,
Yeah,
and I like, but I don't know how it became after that. Uh, it was one of the few shows, including all the TV series and everything, which was making me laugh out loud so much. So I think it was like perfect for me. You know, there are some shows perfect for you.
yeah,
Simpsons I just loved, you know,
yeah, and
until
it
like
had
20th
its
season or something.
and it did have a noticeable change, didn't it? And I mean, it was something that happened over a period of time, and I wish I could remember the video because there was a really wonderful video essay about it. But they described it as with like one simple layered joke, and it was this is gonna suck just describing it verbally, but I'm gonna try it. So like Bart Simpson's riding his bike, and he's got this rivalry against the street sweeper, and the way the joke rolls out is he gets off his bike and the street sweeper runs over it, and you're like, oh no, something's going on, and the street sweeper's laughing about it, and he's still going, and then you see the bike and it's unharmed, right? It comes out from the bottom of it, and you're like, okay, whew, there's some relief. And then Bart's laughing, right? And then the bike falls apart. Then you're like, oh shit, the street sweeper won. And he's laughing. And then as he's laughing, he goes down a set of stairs. There's so many layers to that joke of playing with your expectations that it's what I refer to as like it's a well-crafted joke. It's not laughing at a fart noise, even though I do that still. I'm never not going to laugh at farts. It's not a very basic joke. It's something that has almost like steps, right? You've got run over the bike, bike's okay, bike's not okay. Oh shit, not even the street sweeper's okay. Like it lands well. It ratchets up into that belly laugh. As opposed to something that's very basic where it's just very juvenile and yeah, it's good for a quick laugh, but it's not basic. So it's to sound a little snobby, it's a very well developed, a well aged joke, as opposed to, just like a yuck yuck thing. So
With The Simpsons, I remember the reason why I was finding it more funny is, I don't know if you will agree, a joke is more funny to you if less people can understand it. I don't know if it's like that. I don't know if you
yeah,
agree.
I get where you're
But
coming from. Where it's
for me,
yeah,
it's always like that. It's more
hmm
funny to me if less people can understand it. So
oh
with
yeah,
The Simpsons, everybody does parodies of things, but The Simpsons
sure,
were doing so, I don't know, pinpoint parodies. I know that most people wouldn't understand, but I would laugh so much. When I do funny videos, I try to do that also.
well, I think it's the difference between making jokes that reference things that are familiar and making a satire out of something that feels and is familiar, but that you can then appreciate the humor of.
Yeah.
So, it's the difference between a surface thing where you're like, oh, you can observe that from the outside versus a empathetic thing where you go, oh, this person experienced what I've experienced and they understand what's ridiculous about it. That I think is the difference between an easy joke and good humor.
For example, I make
Hmm.
I make a video about like a retired NPC guy.
Hmm.
Of course, not everybody would be able to understand in Turkey. And also, like I made a video about fantasy role playing, and of course the funny things which is happening in fantasy role playing, or another one which is about anime. Someone
Hmm.
who thinks
Yeah.
he's in anime. So those ones, when you look at them, they don't have the best views. They don't have. They're not the most viewed. But
Yeah.
when you go to a convention, they always say, "Put that one on, put that one on," and they laugh that one. They laugh at that one the most.
It's those
So
specific communities. You're
yeah,
you're talking to
yeah,
the heart of those communities. I absolutely agree.
yeah. So this was what I wanted to show. I made this with a program called Tinkercad
Oh.
software. So
So
I
is
I
it
know
a 3D
nothing.
printing
Yeah, yeah. I
program?
I know nothing
Oh
about
wow.
making 3D stuff. I know nothing about it.
Is that a GoPro caddy or a
Yeah.
GoPro mount? Nice. Okay. See, I want to get into 3D printing, but I already have too many hobbies. But it's been something I've looked at, like into getting like an Ender 3 or something like that.
Yeah,
Like
I have Ender 3.
fascinating stuff.
I have Ender 3.
It looks great. Honestly, like what you just showed me, it doesn't seem to have any jitter or any gaps. Looks like it's a very well formed and well executed print.
It can even do these on the corners, soften the corners and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
that's awesome.
so I wanted to use this. Like I'm going to. It has Velcro, and I'm going to use rubber to make it stronger.
Yeah, like rubber band it and
Yeah,
kind of,
I
yeah.
put it like this. I put it on my strap, and I
Yeah.
walk like this because I go on the street. On the
Hmm.
street, people look at you, and they get more irritated if you hold it with your hand. Of
Yeah.
course, this is not invisible or something, but they don't
Less
care.
obvious.
They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't look at you, or they don't, unless they're of course searching for it. This is very good for me because I always wanted to have street videos. Like I
Well,
took,
you're not invading their personal
yeah,
space
yeah,
bubble. It's on you, so it's like
yeah.
it's not gonna. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Like I go to Romania. I go
Hmm.
to a town in Romania. I will, by the way, in 1 week. Like in there, of course, I want to show my audience, the Turkish people, how is it like a street in Romania.
Yeah,
This is the best way because if I hold it like this, people are going to get bothered. People who are
yeah,
smart enough to realize this is a GoPro doesn't get bothered anyway.
right. And if you go more disguised than that, it looks creepy.
Yeah, yeah,
Because if you hide it, then they think like, oh,
yeah, yeah.
something
Why are you
like
hiding it?
either you're a prank program or you're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
something shady. So that I think is a good compromise. Like that's a good idea.
Like if they ask me, I just say that's my body cam, yani. I'm a
Hmm.
YouTuber, that's my body cam. Yeah, it's not like I'm
Yeah,
going to
I'm
go to
making
an illegal
content.
place or something.
And you're lucky that now everyone knows what making content's about. If I were to do that back in '06, they'd be like, "You're what's making content?" Like, not the same.
You know, the things which is mundane for you, for example, inside a Walmart, it's very interesting for us because it's a huge place. It's very different, as a market, as a
To be
supermarket.
fair, Walmart is a really weird place
And
anyway.
of course, yeah, like it's very interesting, very strange. So like I would like to enter Walmart with this. I know it's not illegal, but people of course would get bothered if I hold it with my hand or something.
Maybe, yeah. Well,
So
yeah. I mean, like people are suspicious anyway. But yeah, it makes you very obvious if you're holding like a gimbal or something like a stabilizer or something like that.
I mean, taken, I'm used to being shot all the time. Even I get uncomfortable by people carrying the cameras like this, you know?
Well, it's when you're not expecting being filmed, when you're like when you like haven't done your hair or you're wearing your worst outfit because you're doing laundry day or you just had a really crap day or something. And if you see somebody getting that on film, you're gonna be pissed. Like you're gonna be like, "Oh man, I just broke up with my girlfriend. Why the hell do you have to be here now? I don't want to be on camera," or like, you know, any number of reasons. So I get it. Makes sense.
When I said before, I see myself as a minor celebrity. For me, an actual celebrity is someone who had a bad hair day or who had a fight with his girlfriend and it becomes news. That's a celebrity for
Yeah,
me.
that makes sense. Yeah, when it gets into the tabloids, that so and so got divorced, or so and so broke up, or like, oh, we photographed Elon Musk on his yacht without a shirt, and now that's news. It's like, really? Fuck. That's it's not great.
So I had people, I had actual celebrities like that who get on the news because of things like that. But
Yeah.
for me, I'm never like that. So
That's good.
incredible things happen to me. Still, it doesn't get on the news, you know. Like,
That's a good thing though.
yeah. Right now,
That's preferable.
yeah. It is. For example, like I got sued for 20th time.
Sued?
Yeah, like
Wow.
most of the time insulting the president, even though I don't insult the president, but it's very easy
Oh
to be
wow.
sued. They
That's
accept it.
pretty easy to interpret though, I would say, is
Yeah,
like
but
someone speaking for the president, because you're not being sued by the president, right?
so it shows that I'm sued by the president, but of course it's not true. It's just the lawyers of the president who are
Okay.
actually trying to fill a quote. They're trying to fill a quote, you know?
Got you. Okay.
It was really
They're
funny.
trying to demonstrate that you can't do this by making you, the person that they
They
prosecute or
get
something.
money. They get money
Yeah,
from the,
I get it.
you know, like the last time, it was like the most ridiculous. I said something in Japanese. You know, itai means it hurts.
Yeah.
But they understood something in Turkish. And they're saying, are you saying something bad to the president? I can't even say it here because they can actually cut it and they
Oh
can sue me.
wow.
Yeah?
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
See, I will say this much for being an American, I can call the president a fucking asshole anytime. Which
Yeah.
which I'm talking about the American president. And for the record, he doesn't seem like it, but I would assume that if you're in politics in America, you're probably an asshole. So I will say I don't take for granted that I can say that, but that's maybe the last good thing that we have going for us.
I mean, you can still get canceled on Twitter.
That's true. Yeah, there's a lot of culture war going on over here right now, which is a bummer too. Like it's and that's part of why I'm very much the type to say, ideally, I would support things that allow people to make more choices and to be more free than to tell people what to think.
Yeah.
That's what really sucks. I don't want to tell someone what to think. It's like it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier with religion. I don't want someone um to not be allowed to be religious if they want to be religious. But at the same time, someone that's religious telling me that I'm not a good person because I'm not religious, that's them trying to limit me as opposed to saying, I support you having the freedom to not be religious.
Yeah.
We have a lot of assholes here that claim they're all about freedom and they just try and put limitations on folks. A lot of jerks over here say that you're not allowed to read certain books for certain reasons. And they're burning books and banning books. And I'm like, you guys are assholes. Just because you're not allowing someone to read an opinion that's different than yourself or something that makes you uncomfortable, you want to remove the option for them to read it. That's not good at all, and that makes you a hypocrite if you think that you believe in freedom, but that you need to tell someone else what to think or what to read. Hypocrisy is a very self-feeding loop.
So, like from YouTube, one of my videos got removed and I got a strike, community strike. And they said it's for hate speech. And this happened back to back. So I got banned from the leftists, and the next day I had to go to the police office to give my statement because the rightists in Turkey sued me. So I have both operations, you know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I leave both operations, both sides. Whenever they have the power, they oppress the other side. Unfortunately.
Power does some screwy things to people.
Yeah. By the way, I didn't have any hate speech. They just interpreted as hate speech. I don't want you to think that I'm one of those hate groups or something. I really, because they
I
were
think I'd
saying,
have a vibe by now if you were like on, not to sound arrogant, but I'm a pretty good read on people. And, if I find out that you're a hate speechist, I'm going to shit all over your name, but I don't think that's going to happen. Like
no,
the
no.
truth is, like I think that it's become apparent, at least from our conversation, because we've been talking for a little while now, that you're a person that is open-minded, that still carries opinions, sure, but that you're approaching it from a spot of wanting to understand. But the unfortunate part is that a lot of closed-minded people can't allow for mistakes or misinterpretations from either side, from themselves or from someone else. If you assume that someone is all good or all bad and only one way forever, then you're already making some mistakes in your own perception. Um, and it's, that's how it goes sometimes. You can't fault someone for being closed-minded, because by nature of being closed-minded, they're not going to understand perspectives.
I was actually going to explain you in a long way, but I'm not going to. Why it got interpreted as hate speech while it wasn't hate speech. I don't want it to be a story about me. My viewers already know anyway. But the funny thing is, like one day I got banned because I got interpreted for hate speech when I didn't actually have hate speech, and the next day I went to the police because I got interpreted that I had I insulted the president when I didn't insult the president. That's
Oh, that's
interesting.
weird.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can feel the pressure from both sides. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It
People
means
are
that I'm
weird,
doing
man.
something right.
That's true. Yeah. If you're running into enemies, that means that you're causing people to either form their opinions or cement their opinions, for better or worse. So
Yeah.
I think that that's good.
And sorry for not being able to say interpret. It's very hard for me to say.
No, you're fine. I'm not some English teacher. I'm not going to judge you based on linguistics. Like I said before, I believe you speak English very well, and I'm not going to fault you for not knowing some of the really weird specific words that are out there. So
Thanks.
yeah.
Of course, when I was young, I didn't know what was important. But my father, he was always he always thought that it would be very important to know a language, you know. And at that time, English was the popular one. It still is, and that's why he put me on American Collegiate Institute, which was like the best choice. I really thank him.
I think you've learned very well, and I think that it's a good thing that you were put towards it, and then
Yeah.
you're doing very well with that language. Yeah. My apologies for the English language. It's a junk drawer of other pieces.
No problem. You remember we talked about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Do you remember Blame the Society? Chad Vader?
Yes, I do remember Chad Vader. I hadn't thought about it in a long time, but yeah.
Do you know he's still active? Blame the Society.
No.
He's still
Oh,
active.
really?
Yeah. I was going to
Wow, is
say
he
that
doing
to
well?
encourage you. So, I don't think so. Not too many people. And he's not making skits or videos like that. I think they're playing board games. So it's
Oh,
very
okay.
interesting because they change styles, you know, but he's
Yeah.
still doing it and he's still enjoying himself, you know?
That's what I think matters most when you're
Yeah.
creating, is whether you enjoy yourself. I mean, obviously for production reasons, getting enough money to support yourself is good for some ways. But even if you're making enough money to support production, if you're not enjoying making it,
Mhm.
then you're just financially doing something you hate. If you're gonna do that, just do a job. Then you
Yeah,
won't
yeah.
have all the other pressures that come with content creation.
Yeah. So remember back, you asked me what kind of a content I would like to see from you.
Yeah.
But of course, I only know that part of you. You may have the capacity to do other great things which I didn't even know. So it all comes to the artist. I know that because like I used to make some kind of videos and people were loving it, but I was saying, but I like this. Like I like astronomy documentaries because I'm graduated from astronomy. And
Yeah.
I was making astronomy, or I was saying, I want to talk about religion. I made a video about religion, and it actually turned out to be one of my most viewed videos. So it all comes down to what you want to show. For example, I like talking about movies, but very people watch, like 10,000 people watch the videos which I talk about, where I talk about movies. I still make it because I like it, and I think it's how do you say? I think it's useful for people. It's doing a good,
Yeah.
rather than just rambling, you know, for me.
Yeah.
Or like I like trekking videos. Not too many people watch it, but people who watch it enjoy it, and it's
You like what kind
original
of videos?
trekking, hiking, trekking,
Oh, hiking. Oh, okay, got you.
and not many people watch it, but people who watch it like it, and it takes
See,
them
I
to a different place.
I like camping too. I've taken to it a lot. Like, I just don't know if I could responsibly carry my expensive camera equipment into the woods like that. I would be so worried about dropping it or like misplacing my footing or something. But I'm there with you. Like, I think what you're saying is like, try to expand based off of what I'm fulfilled in making, right? And I've thought about that a few times because, as I mentioned earlier, I have a lot of hobbies, right? So not all of them I think would be entertaining for content, like studying Python, coding, like not that's really specific, right? But some things like art and design, something that I'm actually getting into is block printing or lino cut printing, where you take material and you carve a design into it, and then you can basically use it like a stamp and make prints, and then I could sell the prints or whatever. Um, that I find a lot of joy in because I draw, I illustrate, I've designed tattoos for people before, and I've thought about doing a progress of, hey, here's a design that I'm sketching, and then here's me carving it into the linoleum block, and then here's me making the print. And if you wanted to buy a print, you could, but it's really about the process, so that it could be a tutorial, but it's also a discussion about what I enjoy about the hobby. So I've thought about that a couple times. There's a few things that I'd like to do. Some things I couldn't necessarily do, like photography. If I'm taking video of me taking video, that's really tough. That's some recursive stuff, right? But I think it's worth exploring. Um, but I think for me, even though I enjoy the subject that maybe I'm trying to plan out, it's a challenge to entertain myself, because I also have to put myself in the audience seat. Um, but again, that's me overthinking, and I need to just make the content because I can't read the minds of however many people are going to watch it when I haven't even made it. So I'm there with you. I think it's about exploring the space and seeing what you like doing.
I was thinking, if you're already going to camping, you could still do it with a phone. You don't have to take your
That's true.
expensive equipment.
I keep forgetting that this is going to be in my pocket anyway. So
Yeah.
you're not wrong. I like that, and I have a little
I'm pretty sure
battery
people will
backup
watch it.
charger. So
I'm pretty sure people
you
will
think?
watch it. For sure.
Alright.
People like camping. I like
That's
camping.
true.
I would 100% like to see a camping place in USA, because
Yeah.
that's very new for me. Sometimes we
Okay.
forget these things. For example, if I would just go to the street like near my house and shoot, it's actually something very interesting for many people.
true.
We forget these things sometimes.
Yeah, you get trapped in your own
Yeah,
perspective.
we,
I
we, we
agree.
think, oh, it's nothing. It's just a street or my
Yeah.
neighborhood. But it's actually
That's
very
something to
interesting.
consider. Yeah. No, I appreciate you saying like that legitimately helps me get into the right headspace to appreciate creating content, honestly, because I've been trapped, I think, in my own eyeballs for a long time.
As I said before, maybe entering Walmart isn't very interesting for you, but for me, it's very interesting. I would enter Walmart and shoot it around as much as I could to show it to people who have never seen a Walmart.
Have you ever seen or heard of the website People of Walmart?
Yeah, was it like a
Yeah.
Facebook group or something?
Yeah, but it's weird. So,
I said it to my wife when we went to USA, and I said, "Look, people of Walmart, it's true.
oh yeah,
It's
it's
true."
true, and it's true every day. It's not like it's a certain time of the day. Like you'd think maybe like, okay, so here's an example. Do you know about Waffle House? Have you ever heard of Waffle House?
I don't remember.
So this is something that's very specific to like Southern culture, so Southeastern United States. It's across the United States, but it's basically like a breakfast diner that serves waffles and eggs and bacon and other breakfast food, but they're open all day, so 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's this yellow sign, and it's kind of like McDonald's, I guess, but for breakfast food, but they're open all the time. And the thing about Waffle House is that when you're drunk and you're thrown out of a bar at 2 a.m., you're hungry for some greasy, disgusting food. And that's where a lot of drunk Americans go at about 2:30. So from like 2:30 to 3 or 3:30 in the morning, the weirdest, drunkest be at Waffle House, starting fights and eating various breakfast foods. So with Walmart, a lot of people think that you're only going to see like the people of Walmart at like 2 or 3 in the morning, like the really weird time of day when not a lot of folks are out. The truth is, Walmart is weird all day, every day, with some of the most unusual people you'll ever see, and it's crazy. I worked there for I think a year or two, unloading the trucks. I was working in the receiving department, so I would get there at I think 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and I would help unload the trucks with the freight that would then be restocked overnight. So when I would be finishing up with work, sometimes it was midnight or 1 a.m. So I would frequently see and hear about my coworkers having to break up fights from people that were in their pajamas buying half and half at 2 a.m., being really weird and tweaked out in Walmart. So it's absolutely a true thing. And there are so many Walmarts. So, for example, in South Carolina, where I'm at, I drove 20 miles. So from my house to another spot in Greenville County, it was about a 20 or 30-minute drive. I passed 3 different Walmart supercenters. They're everywhere, and it's creepy. Because they're legitimately taking over the country. Like, there's way too many Walmarts.
Do you know Everett? Everett is a place. Everett.
No, I don't know Everett.
It's the north of Seattle. It's like a place north of Seattle. That's
See, I haven't been to the northeast very much, honestly. The farthest north I've gone on the west coast was San Francisco.
So yeah, we have to go a little north.
Yeah.
So in there, I was going to that Walmart all the time. So as an example, I can say topless guys. I don't know if it's normal in USA. Topless guys all the time. Guys with underwear, like it's a boxer, boxers. Guys with slippers. Guys with bare feet.
Yep.
And these are the ones which I saw, by the way, not I saw on the internet or something. I personally saw.
Yeah.
Very, very fat women wearing very tight clothes, but like so strange, like she's wearing shorts. On top of the shorts, she's wearing underwear or something.
Leggings.
Yeah, something like that. And on top, she's wearing very tight bra. And,
Or like
wow.
spaghetti strap, like where they have like the tiny little strap here and then like a tube top, pretty much.
Yeah, I think
and
so,
like
yeah.
the belly fat coming out of the bottom. Yeah, there's a lot of that. Muffin tops, pretty
Wow.
much what we call them.
I mean, for example, I don't know if it's insulting or something. There was a channel called Front Butts. So
Yes.
I had no idea what front butt meant.
Front butts or
Wow.
fupas,
Wow.
FUPA, front upper, and then a slang word for vagina area.
So, do you know in your places, or have you seen something called bikini coffee shop?
I've heard of it, but I have not. Like, there's none around here now.
Around Seattle, there was so much. So
Yeah?
much. There was a highway. All near the highway there was that. I don't know if it's
Really?
called highway. I don't think it's called highway, but it's like it was like a
Like a big road.
like a wide
Like a main
road.
road or whatever.
Yeah, like a wide road
Oh, wow.
going all the way to Seattle from Everett.
I
So
wonder if that's a thing for coffee culture, because Seattle gets associated a lot with Starbucks and coffee.
so the thing they were doing it's like a hut or like a shack,
Yeah,
and inside there are, I don't know if you can call it waitress or barista or whatever. They're in bikinis,
yeah,
but very small bikinis, and they
right.
say that, I think, I had a friend who lived there, and she was saying if you tip them, they could open their tap or something, and I was
Yeah,
wondering, wow, interesting. Like nobody would think of it. So probably one person thought of it, and then
yeah.
all the others
Yeah,
uh,
no, and I mean that just sounds like a
copied.
very boring strip club with coffee. Like that to me is like if they don't want to be committed enough to go to a strip club, or they want to be really awake at a very small strip club. I don't know. It's kind of a middle ground.
So she was saying sometimes she didn't have any other place to buy coffee and she would buy from there. So I had a place to buy coffee. Again, it was a shack, but it wasn't with
Yeah.
bikini. And actually, they were writing, "We don't have bikini, we don't have bikini baristas," or something like
Oh,
that.
that's funny. Yeah, I imagine that if they were anywhere near those other ones, someone would be like, "When's the bikini girl coming on?" Like, that'd be so dumb.
But it was good coffee.
I would hope so.
Do you remember I said there was something, but I forgot. I remembered.
Yeah.
Lonely Girl 15.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
So when Lonely Girl 15 turned out to be, of course, we didn't know anything called ARG, you know,
Yeah,
alternate
that's true.
reality game or whatever.
Mhm.
We were so pissed that she wasn't real. Like,
I was pissed off that I didn't figure out that she was real because, and
we were
here's the thing that
naive.
got me.
We were
Well,
young.
we were young, but for me, it was when they discovered that everything had been bought at Target. And Target, if you're not familiar, it's a store like Walmart
I know.
here, but
Yeah,
it's
I
not.
know.
Oh, you're from. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But for me specifically, because my sister was obsessed with Target, she worked there, but she literally was compulsive to the point where she would, but I doubt she's watching. But if you are, hi, sorry, I'm going to tell this. But she would buy clothes at Target, wear them for one evening, and then return them the next day. She did this for years. She was obsessed with it. And we would go to Target so often that I feel like I should have recognized some of those products. I was personally offended and disappointed in myself that I did not notice that before that stage. But yeah, I remember we were really, it was an event. Honestly, people were
Yeah.
she was outed, you know, people were like, "Oh my God, it's not real. Like
It's
it's
not real.
fake content on YouTube. Like this is a scandal."
Yeah.
And now it's so
How,
fake you can't even trust your own
how can you have
screen.
fake content on YouTube? Wow. I even made a video
Yeah.
about it, I remember.
Oh, did you
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember, yeah, there was one. Yeah, I was making fun of. Yeah,
Yeah, I was
I
also
vaguely
making fun
remember
of
one.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was the hot news of that day where we just I couldn't
Haha,
believe
she's
it.
fake. Now,
Yeah.
now you have to find
Crazy.
something real.
I know. And the same thing happened before that with it was like Ohio Kid something something something like some year after that. Because he was this kid that was pretending to be emo and he was faking it the whole time like and then he left YouTube. But that was before Lonely Girl, but that was another little scandal a few years before Lonely Girl had happened. Let me see if I can find that guy real quick. But yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I think Lazy Dork has videos from time to time. Maybe you would
Oh, I
remember him.
remember Lazy Dork.
Lazy Dork.
Yeah, with the bathrobe and everything, right?
Yeah. And Emalina. No, Emalina closed. Emalina closed the account. I think Emalina got harassed by online, I don't know, trolled or harassed by something, and she just closed. She was very famous and she closed her account.
You know, I remember the name, but I don't remember their content, if I'm being totally honest with you.
I found out about her after she closed the account, so I don't know either.
Well, there was, and a few people have done that actually. One of the things that really bugged me was Jenna Marbles when they kind of stepped away because I didn't follow a ton of their content. It was one of those things where randomly I would see their content, but they seemed pretty funny almost every time I randomly saw their videos. It wasn't content that I would like subscribe to and follow a lot. but they had a scandal with I think it was blackface or something like that, like where they were canceled, and I remember they did a video where they were apologizing and basically stepped away from YouTube. Um, but
Ah,
yeah,
that
there's
that
a
was
lot of
recent actually. That was recent, right?
that. I mean, come on, we're old. Recent is like 5 years
Yeah,
plus,
5 years
right?
recent.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like that was within the last couple years that I can recall.
Hmm.
Honestly, the last like 3 years have blurred together because of this pandemic craziness. But
Yeah.
yeah, Gender Marbles, that was, I want to say that was maybe 2018, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I forgot again. I should have written it. I should have written it. So I know Emalina from that Lazy Dog song. That's how I remembered it.
Gotcha.
She,
Okay.
he had a song about Emalina.
Yeah, there was a lot. It's funny too, remembering things in terms of screen names from back in the day. I should actually just try and write down all the screen names that I can remember from them. That'd be an interesting exercise.
Another
We'll do that
question?
later though. Yeah.
I have many questions. No, don't worry, not too much. Don't worry.
Yeah. We got about another 20 minutes.
No problem. So, when they interviewed you, you said you're working on some music videos, directing music videos. Do you remember? When you were young?
About directing music videos?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. I mean, I was pretty naive. I didn't understand anything about like how the industry would work or where I would go to meet bands and figure out that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, that was around when I did the Chapel of Thieves thing.
So, did you direct any? Chapel of Thieves?
Well, there was one called Minus You by Chapel of Thieves, and I didn't direct it. It was something that I helped with editing. It was directed by a guy named Billy Henderson, and my work on that was really light. If anything, I just kind of promoted it a little bit, on my channel after the edits. But I thought it was a good idea, and the reason why is that, music. Okay, so with editing, there's a tempo to it, right? There's a feel that you have to edit at certain
Mm-hmm.
rhythms to make the video flow well. I felt that music would kind of help infer how that editing would look and maybe how that would be illustrated, but I never really got a shot to do a lot of work with music videos. Honestly, I think the most that I ended up doing was a kind of a silly video which featured Richard Cheese doing "People Equal Shit" by Slipknot, and that wasn't even a music video. That was just, I think it was me holding cards and dropping them. Like, I think that's all it was. It wasn't all that advanced.
I
Why do you
see.
ask?
Hmm?
Why do you ask? I mean, like,
Because when I saw that interview, I was wondering, is there any music video which I missed or something? So,
I mean, there was maybe one. Like, I did one when I was in Denver for a guy named Rod Smith. He's a guitarist.
mhm.
Got to shoot it entirely in black and white. And but I didn't release that on my channel. I wonder if let me see if it's on YouTube. I can always send you that video if it is.
Yeah, that would be great.
But I mean, I did direct that and shot that and what have you. Um, oh wow, there's people that are quoting your name on my videos on YouTube. That's cool. Thank you guys for checking out my stuff. So let me see if I can find.
Now you have all the more reasons to make more content.
Right? Hey, it all gets encouraged, right? I mean, that's good stuff. What was the name of that damn video? Let me see if I can find it one more time. And then I'll come right back to this. But okay, I'll have to look around and see if he even still has it up. He may have privated
No
it,
problem.
but
You can send
that
me
was
from
fun to
Instagram.
do.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was fun. I enjoyed it, and it was um gave me a good opportunity to use different lenses and to finally, frame things differently and try some alternate takes. It was a long day though, because he was the only person. He was just a guitarist who was doing the guitar work and as well as singing. And he was an older gent, I think he was in his 50s, I think. So we were shooting for maybe 6 or 7 hours straight. And he was a trooper through the whole thing. But I mean, I kept trying to go like, oh, let's go ahead and try another shot. And he's like, no, man, I gotta go. Like, I had a GoPro mounted to the bottom of his guitar at one point to get like, the fretting shots. And we had to do vocals on a different one. And that was a real pain too, because he had to sync up the music to the video and then edit on top of it. So there was a lot to learn with it. But that to my knowledge, I think was the only like proper music video that I ended up doing.
I also directed a few music videos.
How do you like it? What do you think?
So one of them was actually a fan video. Maybe you know Chromeo.
No, I don't know Chromeo.
It was a song of Chromeo. It actually had a music video, but we didn't like it.
Yeah?
So I said, I'll make something which would be more appropriate for the lyrics. But other than that, I actually directed an official music video also of a Turkish rapper. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll send the links to you also.
Please do. Yeah, I'd like to see your work.
And also the film which I shot, it doesn't have the trailer yet because I'm going to have the trailer after the editing is done. But I have the promotional music clip again. So I'm shooting a band, and in the band there are also scenes from the film.
Oh, nice.
I can also send the link to that also.
Please
to
do,
you.
yes.
And whenever you have time, you can just watch. I don't want to just show it here. I don't want to force all of them to you. I'll
No,
just
that's
send
fine.
I'll just send the link, and whenever you feel like.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah. Send it over Instagram or
yeah.
Discord and I'll be more than happy to take a look at it.
By the way, do you want me to say your Instagram account for people to follow, or do you want to keep it private?
I don't mind. Yeah, I mean, I don't, there's not a lot of content on there, but if people want to take a look, even if they're just curious from the interview, they're more than welcome to check it out.
So yeah, they can just type Boh3m and they will find it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this much, most of my screen names, like the accounts that I would like to have public, I will have under Boh3m3. I think the only weird exception to that is my Twitter, which is Boh4m4. I think, because someone may have gotten there before. Yeah, it's Boh4m4. But yeah, I don't mind. If it's public, then that's usually anchored to that name.
Okay. Right now, what work are you doing? I think you were saying you were setting up a work. So what?
Yeah,
What are you doing right
I've got a new job starting. Well, currently what I do is I sell like switches. So like routers and switches for businesses. So I work with a company that I'll keep private for now, but we sell Cisco switches. So fairly expensive stuff.
I have
And
no idea
companies.
what that means.
Oh, okay.
Switch
Well,
like a button like a light bulb switch?
No, like on your internet modem, how it like, do you have something that splits into multiple plugs?
No, yeah. Yeah.
So a switch for like a large company. So yeah, I'm a tech guy. Thank you, human being. So a switch for large companies and like data centers has many Ethernet ports, and they direct traffic to sometimes to different countries or to different branches and businesses. So they have like 48 port switches or even larger switches than that. And Cisco, spelled CISCO, is one of the largest manufacturers of those switches. So I work for a company that distributes those switches. And people call up and they go, hey, I need to find a switch that has these features so that I can do this one thing. What do you recommend? Can you help me order them? And then I help them do that. That's pretty much what I do. It's called solution design. So I just design basically I assist designing networks in a very limited way. That's what I do currently, for like the next week. But my new job will be working with a company that does live streaming events. I'll be working technical support with that company to diagnose any network issues or streaming issues
Live
as
streaming
they
like
use
YouTube?
kind of, yeah, but it's a proprietary service. So they, the streams may end up on YouTube or on Twitch, but it's a company that actually does the production of the stream. So they operate the PTZ cameras, so pan, tilt, zoom cameras. So you can remotely, adjust those and cut to those various feeds. But basically, like, if it's a company that, let's say, for example, to use VidCon, right? Let's say you're YouTube and you go, hey, I want to live stream VidCon, but I don't want to hire the staff to work the cameras and make sure the stream is good. I want to hire a service to do that. This company would do that. They would have operators to work the camera. They would send out their own equipment, and then when the streaming time goes live, they handle all of that for them. So in a weird way, I'll be doing OBS style stuff professionally, which I'm really excited about.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Something you like.
Yeah. Yes, I'm really excited about it because as much as I like the current role with Switches, it's not as great for me as a techie. Like, it doesn't scratch that itch for like being fulfilled with my work. I still get some of that, but I feel like this next gig is going to be a pretty good fit.
Closer to you, closer to what you are.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another encouragement for you.
Right? Yeah.
To start with
it
your
all ties
videos.
back. Yeah.
Let me check. Oh, do you remember Fred?
I unfortunately remember
He
Fred.
used to be the number one. I can't believe that there was a time like that. Like PewDiePie.
Fred was the beginning of kids joining YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Fred is a statistical marker for how many children were given iPads that year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe he was but he was number one. So like people say, PewDiePie is nothing. PewDiePie is like Martin Scorsese compared
PewDiePie compared to Annoying Orange and Fred and like, oh god. Well, I mean, even Annoying Orange was a step up. Now Fred was so irritating, but that's what got views.
Yeah. So that's another reason why the YouTube celebrities, the type of YouTube celebrities changed. Like I would never ever imagined the most famous YouTube celebrities would be gamers. No way.
That is a weird thing, yeah.
No way I would imagine. No way I would think. I would say, nah, that's not a possibility. Don't joke me. Don't kid me.
It's so weird, isn't it? Because I mean, the things that I enjoyed when I was younger, video games. I didn't play Dungeons and Dragons, but being a nerd and a techie as a kid, like video games and that comic book culture, even internet culture, to see that become such a household, familiar thing, much less to be such a big business and to have people making money playing Counter-Strike and Overwatch and League of Legends. I played freaking League of Legends years and years ago, and like, it's so funny to see how they've become industries and why they're drawing millions and millions of hits. Like, it to me is strange how people enjoy Twitch, like live streaming, like, but that's how it goes. I guess it shows you the variety of what millions of people may want to watch every now and then,
It also shows that the demographic changed. So many kids came.
It really did.
So many kids came.
And the ease of access.
Yeah. Yeah. And in Turkey, it's like that also. You can see the most famous YouTubers, not all of them, but many of them, they even talk like talking like hotel animators. They talk like talking to a kid.
Yeah. Make it simple.
I've
noticed this with
like
TikTok. Yeah, like they do really exaggerated facial stuff, and like it's weird because it's becoming like really little kid programming, and I'm like, I didn't sign up for this. Like, do you know how dirty the internet is? They shouldn't be doing you don't put the strip club next to the daycare.
Yeah.
Like you'd separate, really, please. There's some weird stuff happening there, but I have noticed that as well, and it's creepy. It's very creepy.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
So, like I remember, just a few weeks ago, I saw a video, and they're saying how a person on YouTube used to be famous. So I have heard of him before. It's just a name. It's just a nick. I don't remember. but they were saying like he had a huge house, he had a Ferrari, he had everything. He made a huge company, and what was he doing? He was playing games. I just don't. They were saying like
Yeah.
he was professional playing this game in front of the.
Oh yeah.
I'm a boomer. I'm sorry. I'm a boomer for that. I'm a boomer
Yeah,
for
no,
that.
I get it. And I'd be wrong if I didn't say that I'm a little bummed out that I didn't get really much financial stuff from YouTube, but in a weird way I'm grateful for it because if I had gotten enough to make a living, then I may have kept going when I should have stopped. I'm grateful that I stopped when I did because I was starting to shape my personality based off of being the angry person, like just ranting on YouTube. And that wasn't leading to a good quality of life. I was just getting really crotchety. And being kind of a negative person anyway, I didn't have the initiative or the incentive to round out my personality the way that I am now, to mature in a way that I have. Like, I think I would have been a lot more stunted emotionally if I had kept going instead of having to confront life and like do things differently. And I think that may be a real danger of people that become influencers when they're young or
It's very bad
experiencing this
actually.
from that perspective. Yeah.
I'm just really glad that this technology didn't exist when I was young because I would just do
Oh,
it.
same here.
I would just do it.
Yeah.
I would say, okay, this is going to be my profession. I'm going to play computer games in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll be
There's a
rich.
lot of
Who knows?
people. And yeah, and when you think about it, right? If I was a kid that was call it like 12 to 15 years old, and I loved video games at that age, but they weren't as accessible. I didn't have the ability to play them everywhere. There wasn't as much variety.
Yeah,
And I'm going to have to go soon as well, so this may be one of the last things we cover,
no
unfortunately.
problem.
But I do want to come back. We should do another show if you like.
Sure.
But if I was in the current world at that age, I agree with you that I may think, well, I don't need to learn any of the other skills that may get me other jobs or explore other things that I may not understand are going to be like fulfilling later on. I'm just going to study this video game because there's millions to be made here in the
Yeah,
professional circuit.
yeah,
That would cause a really big negative impact, I think,
yeah,
where otherwise I might, explore woodworking or camping or programming or art, anything that would be, fulfilling and enriching, but maybe not make as much money because there you have to tend to yourself as much as tending to your career. And it's tough to do because self-care is not an easy thing, but that's the foundation that everything else is built on. And
yeah.
I think people are really missing out sometimes because of how accessible these things look. They may not actually be that accessible, but to a lot of people, they go, "Oh, well, anybody with a phone can do this. Anybody with a video game and an internet connection can be a pro gamer." Like, yeah, maybe, but a lot of it is also luck and timing and networking, and some of it's natural skill that you're not going to get, which sucks, but that is how things go.
Also, they don't realize the people who are most famous and the best ones, or the ones making the best money, they're not actually the best gamers. They actually have the best
Right.
personalities, you know? So it's
And
actually
that's
acting.
something you can't always teach,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and I mean, some of it is it's
They can
their
play
flaws.
shitty. They can play super
Yeah.
shitty.
But because they react in a funny
Yeah.
way, you're like, I love watching this guy fail
Yeah.
at this,
Yeah.
So we had that back in our day. I don't know if you saw this series, but it was oh God, what was it? I think it was Doom 3. Do you remember Doom 3?
Yok, no. The game.
No?
The game.
Yeah, the game.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
I know. I used to play it a
You
lot.
remember it was like, yeah, where you had the flashlight or the
Yeah.
gun,
Yeah.
right? And it was really dark and scary. So there was this guy, and there was a series of videos, and it was called like, what was his name? It was like Mesh Plays Doom 3 or something like that. And the whole gimmick was that this guy was terrified of everything. He was like easily startled. And they put him in the dark with a night vision camera playing Doom in that environment. And it was one of the first videos I remember seeing where it was like a let's play, like what we're talking about right now. and he was not great at the game, but I couldn't care less. Like I was just looking at the game to see what was freaking him out. The content was him screaming in the dark
Yeah.
and being harassed by his buddies. And it goes to show you don't have to be good at a game, but you do have to be entertaining at some level
Yeah.
to get success.
I guess it's just a new medium for actors and performers.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, you could do anything these days. There's a kid who's a multi-millionaire because he unboxes Disney toys.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
that's some weird shit out there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's past 3 hours, so whenever you want, whenever you like, you can leave. I have all the day. For me, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
But whenever you
Yeah.
want,
I do think I need to step away. I need to go
No
ahead
problem.
and have some dinner and whatnot. But this
No
has
problem.
been, I have to thank you for an excellent interview with some really awesome questions. And I want to thank your chatters and viewers, and for the new followers and the people commenting as well. You guys are excellent as well. I've had a really wonderful time.
thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Maybe 15 years later, I'll have an interview with Keanu Reeves or
There
Johnny
you go.
Depp, or who knows? Because for
You
me,
know, who's
for
saying?
me, when I started, you're the Keanu Reeves of YouTube, or
Well, that's very
Johnny Depp
flattering. I
or
appreciate you
YouTube.
saying.
yeah. I mean,
Well,
maybe according to you, you weren't, but for us, of course, you were.
Well, as long as I was entertaining, and if you've had a good time, talking with me, I would be more than happy to come back and talk with you, like we were discussing, right? Maybe we should have like a religion and politics stream or something where we're jumping a little bit further into the rabbit hole with that. If you want to, I would be open to that. So let's keep talking about this, and
Yeah.
I'd be happy to join your stream later on down the road.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and drop off the call here, but keep in touch. See you guys later, okay?
Okay. Please come back to YouTube.
Excellent. Yes. See you later.
Bye.